church town, there's a gold dirt road to a whole lot of nothing. Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country. We pray for rain and thank Him when it's falling, 'cause it brings a grain and a little bit of money. We put it back in the plate, I guess that's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in the sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-bound Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. We turn the dirt and work until weeks done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country. I saw the light in the sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on a muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-bound Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heading down. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. God's country. I don't care what my headstone reads or what kind of pine wood box I end up in. When it's my time, lay me 6 feet deep in God's country. I saw the light in the sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-bound Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. Yeah, I saw the light in the sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-bound Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. God's country.
Was your sympathy when everything went wrong? You asked me, where is this person that I've known for so long? Another perfect storm to bend and break. Another night of lying under all that weight, waiting for a remedy that you'll never find. Don't mean to rain on your parade, but I see it on your face. You can't keep up this charade, and I know, yeah, I know. It's already too late. A day or two and we'll be at each other's throats, like the wolves at the door. It's all just like before those words you spoke. Another perfect storm to bend and break. Another night of lying under all that weight, waiting for Don't mean to rain on your parade, but I see it on your face. You can't keep up this charade, and I know, yeah I know. It's already too late. It's already too late. I know.
mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. When you speak,
Hey everybody, welcome back to another fight night filled of tism and fucking sadness on the part of dipshit Phil. How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah, Garrett, we got the same weather here in Edmonton. It's going to be like 34 Celsius tomorrow. Fucking insane. Hey Heather, what's up? Lewis, what's up? What movies am I looking forward to? Shit. I got no idea. I really haven't been looking at what's coming out here in the next few months. Just watched, what was it, Samaritan? Was watching Nope today. Dago's going to play some SF5, alright. Something DSP refuses to do. Yeah, do a little bit of WoW tonight. Heather, next week. For sure, you and I are going to do some World of Warcraft. Anybody else that wants to join in, more than welcome. If you can get like a good 5-man group, we can do Dungeons, level up Heather's Druid for her. Get all that shit done. So that'll be fun next week. Tonight, yes, we got Meth Bear is going to be on in about 14 minutes-ish. And we're going to discuss basically harassment, slander, and defamation on the part of dipshit Phil. Basically just going to look at, his claims of, it's illegal against him for us to do it, but it's all right for him to do it. And we're going to look at the recent tism involving Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog and Phil's take on the whole situation there. I will have a video up discussing the Last of Us Part 1, which, for everybody's information, unlike what Phil states, it's not a remaster. It's a complete from the ground up remake of the game, which that alone justifies the $70 cost, in my eyes, with everything that's being changed. Like, there are gameplay things being changed in it. There's just a ton of stuff that's being added or changed in the game that Phil has fucking no clue about. Weed in video games. It was me last night when I got home from work. Fucking got high. Oh, shit. Mute that trash. I don't know, Lewis. Like I said, I haven't really looked at anything that's coming out here for movies here in the next couple months. The last movie I saw was in the theaters was Bullet Train. I was supposed to go do Invitation last weekend, but I couldn't get away. I was just too busy with work and everything. But I hear that's kind of trash, that movie anyways. And Phil should have started by now, but of course, fuck no, why would he? Yes, Ramen, it's based on an entirely new engine for Last of Us Part 1. So, again, like, Phil has no clue what he's talking about. It's a completely from a ground up remake of the game. So they are using assets, yes, but not in the respect as Phil thinks they're just going to copy paste and away they go. Hey, Zockton, what's up? Now we're just waiting for dumbass Phil to get fucking started. Of course, he's already late, like usual. He said 6:45 his time. He's already 5 minutes late. God forbid if that man had a real job, he'd fucking be fired because of tardiness. We'll see what Phil has up to tonight. He's gonna get his fucking ass handed to him, probably. I might switch out from World of Warcraft as well. Maybe play some Fightcade again. I don't know, just see how I feel. Hey, Alfred, what's up? Of course, the desperation for his fucking tism. Like, he's paywalled the fucking Halloween marathon. No surprise there. Right? Even though it's a yearly thing, it might not happen this year. Then he's paywalled another React event. Big fucking deal there, too. It's like he can't figure it out. When you're a content creator, like say you're somebody like Tim the Tatman, Dr. Disrespect, etc., etc. Their subscriber count is probably going to remain the same, but their memberships will drop every month, no matter what. They'll go up, they'll drop down, they'll go up, they'll drop down. But these people, they also have sponsors, something Phil refuses to do or he can't do anymore because of his image online. But they have sponsors that offset that cost, right? So when they lose like 100 memberships, that sponsorship money takes place of that loss in revenue. But that's something that Phil can't do. Hey, Doku, what's up? So when you see stuff like that, like Phil's memberships dropping, if he had sponsorships, he'd be able to offset that membership drop. But then again, him managing money in the first place is fucking ridiculous, so he's going to lose money no matter what he does. But that's the problem, right? You have him like 1 month he's going to beg for tips. The next month he's going to beg for memberships, and then it'll flip-flop. Again, he'll do tips, memberships, tips, memberships. You can't find that even ground. And because of his shitty fucking content, it's not going to bring in any new people. Like, he always bets on these new releases are going to save the channel, right? Like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection is a disaster release right now. The online play is completely undoable. The online play sucks. The single player is fun. I haven't bought the game. I've just been reading the forum posts and everything on it. Yeah, he wants to hit that, Lewis. He wants that because that YouTube paycheck, when gifted memberships first came in and he skyrocketed to like 640 members, that YouTube paycheck nearly doubled. Close to, right? Like, he was clearing 7,000, 8,000 a month when the gifted memberships came in. And now that's completely dried up. Now he's going to be below 5,000. Which is still fucking good. Hey, Cadence, yeah, Meth Bear should be on here shortly. So we'll probably pause the gameplay stream just as Meth Bear and I start talking. We're going to switch over to another scene. Going to play a little clip of basically what we're talking about, and then we'll just discuss the history and legality of Phil's issues. You gotta remember that a lot of his members, I would say probably about half of his members are sock accounts. Or accounts that are just dead, but people don't know that they've subscribed and the payment's still coming out. They don't watch him, but that's how his memberships, especially his subscribers too, his subscriber account. If YouTube would probably wipe out, say, any subscriber that hasn't logged in 3 months, if they were to wipe that from his account, that would probably cut his subscriber count probably by 2/3, I want to say. Oh yeah, Ramen for sure. Like his super chats are down, his tips are down, his memberships are down. Like what was it? Was it last month? He was $20,000 under what he made the previous year, or 22,000, something like that. So that's a big chunk of change to take a hit with, right? And that's why you have things like sponsors and alike to offset that cost when the revenue drops. That's because the super chats don't bring him that immediate cash injection, right? He gets the satisfaction he's going to have this money at the end of the stream. If it's a super chat, he's not going to see it until the 21st of the following month. So that hurts his bottom line, right? Can't do those polls without getting tips. Remember, Phil has no... Like, he wants to say that he has morals and everything like that. Phil doesn't have jack shit, right? Phil doesn't care. He just wants the money now, and it's got to keep on coming. If it slips, then it's his viewers' fault for not engaging or not supporting his content. But again, like, what content? You come on for about 2 hours, you slander, you harass, you defame game developers, other YouTube content creators, you make shit up, then you jump into some shitty gameplay that he's going to do terrible at, then sits there and begs all afternoon or all evening. But again, it's just roughly stupidity, right? Doesn't want to work, doesn't want to get sponsorships because he knows no one's going to sponsor him. I honestly don't know what Phil's fucking problem is with Last of Us. Like, I've never played Last of Us Part 1 or 2 because I'm no longer a console gamer. And those types of games never really were my kind of thing. But with it being released, because The Last of Us Part 1 remake is supposed to be coming to PC as well, so I may pick it up and I may play it on stream. Like, he complains about, you know, it's like a 10-year-old game, right? The game came out like 10 years ago or whatever. And that's an old title. And you see this all the time with him, right? How he'll complain about, oh, I don't want to play that because it's really old. But then he plays Skyrim. Like, how many times has he bought Skyrim? 5 or 6 times he's bought it? He's played that 5 or 6 times. Same as GTA. There's tons of games that he just plays over and over and over and over again. Well, his Skyrim playthrough, it's the exact same playthrough every single time. And it's the exact same game. Like, there's no remake of Skyrim from the ground up. It's just remastered. So it's just skinned and stuff like that. So there's nothing like phenomenal about it. The thing with Last of Us Part 1 is it's brand new engine made from the ground up. I mean, how can you be an expert in the gaming business, but you don't know anything about game development, right? Like, Phil thinks these games should be made within like a week and then pumped out and bang, they're good to go. But it's like, that's not how game development works, Phil. Like, you have storyboarding, you have content creation, you have tons of stuff that go into the development of the game. What engine are you going to use? Are you going to use an existing engine? Are you going to do your own engine? And then everything has to fall into place from there. Like, Phil, like, he literally thinks that they copied the accessibility options from The Last of Us Part 1 and just pasted them into the remake. When the accessibility options, they are based on that from The Last of Us Part 2, but they've been completely reworked because of the new DualSense controller and everything like that from the PS5. So it's not just a copy and paste job. There's far more effort and dedication goes into getting that game done. But again, Phil doesn't know what hard work is, right? He doesn't understand that concept of, you know, people that, like, I know people that work at BioWare here in Edmonton, and I know the crunch times and everything when they have to get that game done. And it is, I wouldn't want to work in that industry. It's just, it's a horrible industry to work in, mentally and physically. Phil never did any computer programming. That's just another lie. I don't believe that for 1 second. That story that he told about the computer programming professor. Fuck, that was just bullshit. Ronan, I have 3 arcade cabinets. I have the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Street Fighter 1, that amalgamation of them. I have Pac-Man, and I have Ninja Turtles. Were they a waste of money for me? I got a lot of play out of it. My nephew, when he was here, he played on those things all fucking day long. It's just that Phil's condo's too small to have any of those arcade cabinets. He'd have nowhere to put them. Right? That's it. I'm a rich, eccentric gamer that looks after his elderly parents. Like, God forbid fucking Phil would look after his parents when they... Well, they're probably the same age as my parents. He doesn't fucking look after them. But I like my video games, right? Like, I like the arcade cabinets. The next one, if I buy another one, it's probably going to be Mortal Kombat. It's exactly. If you enjoy it, then, like, I'm not saying go out and buy it, right? But that's what I enjoy, and I don't mind spending that money. He'll look after the inheritance unknown. That's what he's going to do. He's going to look after that inheritance for them. That inheritance will be gone within, like, 10 minutes. If I still had my Switch, Alfred, I would probably play it. I just play the Nintendo Online stuff because I like the older games. Ronan, you can get Fightcade. Fightcade has Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in it. And it's got a massive player base on Fightcade as well for it. So if you don't want to wait, it's something you can just play with until you get it. Alfred's right. Phil doesn't appreciate anything. Like Shinko said, Phil's a consumer, right? As soon as that money enters his bank account, he has to spend it on, regardless on whatever it is, he has to spend it. Like, you look at his day off yesterday, right? How much money he was begging for, everything that he was asking for the money for, and then he got his haircut again. We know that's 60, 70 bucks right there just to get his haircut at Twirls and Curls. Unknown, it's pretty much a crapshoot. Just make sure that, like, your virus, like, if the virus scan pops up and states that, you know, there's a signature on the site that doesn't make sense, or it gives you a warning, then don't go to that site. Otherwise, it should be safe. Oh, we know, Heather, he let it slip the last time. What was it? He was like 60, 70 bucks for his haircut, because he gets his hair dyed too, right? Like, you know that joke about him, he's not dyeing his hair or whatever, right? That song that Meerkat did. He actually does get his hair dyed because of his gray hairs. Oh yeah, like, you can see, like, give it like 2-3 weeks, and when you see the close-ups, like, you can see the gray hairs in his beard, you can see the gray hairs in his hair, and that bald spot is growing. And then he'll go get his hair cut, and it'll come back. Like, you can see the picture. I think this is from today. And I have the GIF playing in the bottom left. That is from today. Oh shit, Ronan, I'm bald, so I just shave my head once a month. That's all I do. And that's free. Now, what Phil needs to do is get rid of that fucking pedo stash and the fucking patchy beard is what he needs to get rid of. But somehow Cat likes it, right? Oh, Shitbeard is live.
Of all things, with my shirt, it's typically not. Whoa! I didn't mean to boot it. See, I was cleaning and I pressed.
How's Phil's audio?
I was cleaning the joystick. I pressed the button, booted the game. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see. Usually we have a good time regardless. Remember, last few weeks, even though we haven't really been able to consistently get matches constantly, we've actually had a good time just kind of chilling and relaxing and talking with each other. I did it again, by the way. These very touchy buttons. So, hope you guys are ready for 2 hours of fun this week, relaxing, interacting, talking about Street Fighter and other things, because as you know, when we're waiting for the matches, there's a lot of time now to kind of chat. So, let's chat. First of all, I just want to talk a few things I talked about on the podcast this morning, in case you didn't get a chance to watch it yet. New month means a new member's goal. We lost a ton of members last month. I want to put that behind us. I want to put all the bullshit, the drama, the trolling.
Yeah, I know, seemingly odd. Same thing.
Behind us. I want to have a new, fresh month here in September. Okay. So what is this? The members goal? Excuse me, 450. If we hit 450 members at any point during September, we are going to do a Halloween marathon. You guys will nominate and vote on games for me to play during the marathon. I'll also be dressing up in costume. Members, meaning people who are members actively, will have a priority to nominate and vote a game to be played, and members will have their own members-only game that'll be in their event, and then also the common, viewer will also be able to nominate even if they're not a member. So that's the default reward if we hit 450. However, there's a bonus reward this month. If we hit 450 members before the middle of the month, which I said today it would be September 16th, okay? So in 15 days we hit 450 members, we will do a special bonus event that will be held before the end of this month, either the last or next to last weekend, where it'll be a special React event. What will it be? I don't even know yet. We'll talk about it. There's many things that I have access to react to, and I'd like to do a special one for you guys as a way to try to bring people back to being a member of the channel after so many people falling out of that last month, okay? So, double reward, all right? Double reward for memberships this month. If you're not a member, please consider becoming one, renewing, or gifting. That helps the channel tremendously. This month, I'm going to get significantly less income this month because last month we had such a drop in members, and I'm trying to get that back now, okay? So there you have it. Now you guys know
Jesus
when I play
Christ.
fighting games, when I'm actually playing the game, all right, I can't interact with you. I can't talk. I can't read your messages. I usually can't do shout outs. Every once in a while I get lucky and I can shout one out between. It's kind of tough. However, since this game has downtime between the sets of matches, that means I will have opportunity to give you a shout out while we're searching for the next match. I'll do my best. Same thing for if we hit any goals tonight, like if we hit a tips goal for a hat or whatever, I will put up those polls and things between the matches as soon as we get a chance, okay? So please be a little patient on that and, understand that's why I can't just do it immediately, but, I'm playing a competitive game. Obviously, I want to focus on it, or else what's the point of me playing it if I'm just here to not pay attention and lose, right? That's probably not the point. Okay.
He should dress up in prison garb and get used to it.
One final thing before we get to shout-outs. Tomorrow is a big event. It is my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Pizza Party marathon event playing the TMNT Cowabunga Collection, which I'm actually going to buy and download after I finish this stream. I'm going to be ordering pizza and actually having pizza during the day, doing kind of a live review of it, and then actually eating it over the course of the day as well, along with playing a wide variety of Ninja Turtles games all day long from that collection. There's platformers, beat-em-ups, fighting games, Metroidvania games. There's a ton of variety in that collection to check out over the course of the day. Plus, of course, we're going to be talking about Ninja Turtles. I'm going to have a segment on the podcast in the morning going over my history with the Turtles, kind of going over their history of what did I watch, the cartoons, the movies, the comic books, etc. I'll go through all that for you in a big formal setting, okay? So it's going to be a really fun event. I hope we can be here tomorrow. If you're a fan of Ninja Turtles or not, it should still be a fun time, and I hope you'll join me for that. Our regularly scheduled gameplay starts back up on Sunday with the continuation of Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobe, and of course, on Sunday night, it's Sunday Night Bites. Okay? One final thing, and then we'll do shout-outs. It sure would be great to get some good
Yeah, it is,
support
Ronan.
tonight.
The
When I
online
say
play
that,
is
I
extremely
lost a lot of
bad.
income last month. All right? And the thing is, that's going to affect me this month.
Holy
coming up.
shit, another fucking
So,
plug.
Some great streams would be appreciated. It would be great to have a hat tonight. We got so close to hitting the hat goal, the $100 tips goal earlier today. We were like $5 off, and we just didn't do it. So it would certainly be great to hit that tonight and get a hat in the mix. You guys, of course, can vote on whatever silly hat you want to see. We'll put the Bison hat in the running, but we'll have others as well. All right, we'll go from there. All right, shout-outs. Shout-outs. Ready? We start with Jax Raxer, who basically has an update. And I guess what we need to do is talk a little bit about this. So here's what Jax has to say.
Shit.
First of all, thank you for the $25 tip. As always, Jax, I really, really appreciate that. Okay? Remember, Jax is a regular to the Friday Night Fights streams. We actually don't really see him that often outside of the Friday Night Fights. Now, he does watch other stuff on demand, and sometimes he catches up on Friday Night Fights on demand when he can't watch it live. So here's what he has to say. Good evening, Phil. I want to let you know, and the chat, of course, the chat knows he's a regular. Starting next week, my work schedule is going to change to a daytime schedule. I'm going to work on Fridays and possibly Saturdays. I'll try my best to continue to attend Friday Night Fights after work. All right. So I guess here's what we'll do. We're not going to change Friday Night Fights or anything right now. We'll leave it as Friday nights. Let's see what happens. Obviously, Jax is one of the long-time...
Jax's weekly contribution might fucking dry up.
Friday Night Fights. I would hope he would...
Oh, here he knows right away.
Streams, but if he can't make it, it's Friday Night Fights is catchy, right? It's catchy, and I don't know if we get more or less players because it's Friday night. I honestly haven't tested it.
Ronan, if you've seen in the past where Jax doesn't show up for a Friday night fight, Phil loses his mind because that guaranteed $25 isn't going to be there.
We're flexible. That's the cool thing about me being a content creator.
And that's what he's basically discussing right now, that he needs more people to support, just not Jax.
For the longest time when Jax started being a regular. So we'll see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll play it by ear. Let's keep it on Fridays. I appreciate Jax you giving me the heads up. That way if you're not here...
Like, if he's going to change Fight Night just for Jax to guarantee that $25, that's fucking disgusting.
So let's see what happens and go from there. All right? Sound good? Cool. Okay. But thank you, Jax, for the usual $25 tip. I really appreciate that. Cherry Juice tipped me $1.50 and says, don't forget to drink your cherry juice. We need some Vega gameplay. I actually did drink my cherry juice with dinner today. A different brand, because we're going to a new grocery store for the last month or so, and we were getting the brand that they had. They didn't have it this week. I had to get the more expensive one that was supposed to be organic, and admittedly it tasted slightly different from the other one. It didn't necessarily taste better. It just tasted slightly different. For the $2 extra a bottle, I think it was kind of a ripoff, but that was the only one they had, and I have to have my cherry juice for health purposes, so it is what it is. I did have my cherry juice for today. It was just a different brand. Okay.
Old 40-year-old man
MAGA
needs fucking cherry
now,
juice.
Don't you know, MAGA Republican, you've been called out by President Biden that you are anti-democracy, just so you know. I don't know if you heard his speech. I didn't either. I read about it.
Fuck's sakes, Phil.
So anyway, MAGA Republican tipped me $3. Is looking forward to some great matches. Thank you to the MAGA Republican for the tip. Listen, I don't give two shits what your political stance is. That's not what this stream is about. I don't believe in MAGA Republican stances at all, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to take your tips. So thanks. All right. Very nice. All right. So, guys, I think without further ado,
Phil will take a tip from a fucking homeless man living out of his car who then ended up in prison over child porn.
Not that I have to say this, but I will say it before we begin. If you're thinking of contributing tonight, all right, and you're thinking of tipping, the sooner the better, because the sooner we get the reward, the better. What's been happening is we get to like the end of streams, and we're so close to hitting goals. Sometimes we do, and we only have a little bit of time.
The better.
Really, what happened here?
What the fuck?
I don't know why I was a gem fighter. We only have a little bit of time to have the reward, and that's disheartening. Like earlier today, we were $5 away from hitting the hat award or the hat goal, and then we ran out of time. Some people didn't get a hat, even though people were really trying to hit the goal. Like, damn, that sucks. So.
Oh my god. He's
sense
begged
to do it
like
as soon as possible.
5 times in the
Longer,
last
long
like
time wearing a hat
8
or a vest or
minutes.
whatever it may be. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we can get going here tonight.
Holy
Last
shit.
week, there was a ton of Darkstalkers last week immediately, right? So, see what happened.
If I were Peace, I'd be at BegCon 1 right now. I'd be at BegCon 1 right now. That's the sooner the better.
The audio object just keeps saying $4 for membership. Yeah, for those who don't know, memberships on my channel here are $3.99. They're cheaper than when I was over on Twitch. Twitch took a bigger cut.
And again.
Why they were more expensive over there. I essentially made the same amount of membership here as I did on a sub on Twitch, only it's cheaper. So, oh boy, it's our buddy Evo Shandor, who's the 100% Guile player. I don't know if he's ready. If you look, he's not readying up. Maybe because I beat him so badly last time, he doesn't want to play now. Could be. Again, he only picks Guile and literally does the online cheap shit. Okay.
Seemingly odd, we'd already be on the floor passed out drunk.
Nowhere to carve a pumpkin in this office. Carving a pumpkin is quite messy and it takes a lot of space to do. I would not be able to do that on a stream, sorry. That's definitely not happening.
Why, you can't move your fucking camera downstairs and just carve a pumpkin on stream? You've done it before, Phil. Don't bullshit him.
Folivora Xenarthra, excuse me, did a 3-month re-upping of their membership and said, hope you're having a great day. Thank you. For the most part, I am having a good day today. Okay. No, I'm not moving my entire setup downstairs. Is ludicrous. Yes, move my PC, which I've been using 8 years straight, and I'm already seeing signs of age problems and hard drive issues. Bring that all the way downstairs.
No, you're not.
And try to set it up and get it to work down there. Moving all my equipment. Oh, that sounds like a really genius idea, doesn't it?
Stream it from your phone.
Yeah. Nothing could possibly go wrong with that.
Just stream it from the fucking phone, Phil. Like, how fucking difficult can that be?
Okay, Damon Baxter, enjoy your permanent ban.
And there we go, Manuel leaning.
All right. All right, everyone. It's Friday Night Fights, and our first match of the week is going to be Old School Street Fighter, which I'm pleased with. As you guys know, I like Old School Street Fighter a lot. And kind of disappointed that we haven't played it in a long time, honestly. I'm going to go with Hyper Fighting Balrog and then with Hyper Fighting Chun-Li. See how this goes.
Not that I know of, no.
Ah, yes. Locked her down in the corner. Very nice.
Tony, just like he just did right now,
Trade.
he needs a tip sooner
This
rather than
stuff I
later.
couldn't get out of the throw
Right?
setup
It
to get
speaks
the reach
volumes.
because I don't have a reversal with this version of Balrog.
Is Phil gonna cheap him? Nope.
Right. Wow. Got her with a clean counter hit right in the head. That was a good mash. That was actually really
A
good.
clean
fight.
counter hit? You jumped and pushed jab, Phil. That's not really a counter hit. You just jumped and pushed jab. All right.
Again? I'll do it again if they want. If they go turbo, I'll go turbo. I'll do it again. No? We're going to change it up. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it anyway. I'll do it anyway.
It's either go back to Balrog and be cheap. Good choice, Phil. Good choice. She's just doing the same move over and over and over again, Phil. Jump in dad, yeah. Jump in jab. There. Yep, yep, yep. See, Phil's play is predictable. You know exactly how Phil is going to play his fucking scam
I will
tactics.
shut that out when I can. Oh, that was nice, actually.
Jump in dash. He does the jump in jab, does that dash punch, and then does the headbutt over and over and over again.
And
See?
the mix-ups win.
Mix-ups,
Yes,
Phil.
Malcolm
You have
with the
three
$5
moves with
tip. He rage
Balrog.
quit, didn't he? Oh my god, you stupid pussy bitch. He rage quit the match. I completely outplayed him. He couldn't take it and he quit. Unreal.
Yeah, you outplayed him,
First one
Phil.
was a close
But if
match,
he did that to
and he
you,
had
it
a
would be
chance to
lag
win, and he'll
tactics.
Stick around, but all of a sudden I dominate him. Oh, let me rage quit. What a stupid fucking pussy willow bitch. Oh well, that's the state of online play these days. What can I say?
Not a
Thank you, Malcolm,
children's
for $5
entertainer.
From Murray, he is a big fan. Well, shout out to Murray, whoever he may be, and thank you.
But
for
labels his
watching today.
videos child-friendly. Okay.
Bill says he's looking forward to tomorrow's stream. It's nostalgic for him. It should be a good time tomorrow. The Ninja Turtle stuff, man. What platform are we playing it on? You know, I was thinking about it. I don't think either version is going to have more or less players. I honestly don't think there's going to be many players. If I randomly even...
The online play is broken, and the online player
lucky.
base is completely fucking dead.
So, I don't know. I'm just probably... I mean, I've been playing everything on Xbox lately. I see no reason to not get it on Xbox. I believe it's cross-platform, right? So if you get it on, like, Xbox One version, it's cross-platform with all Xbox consoles or whatever. So likely that's probably just what I'll be doing is getting it on Xbox.
That's going to be my question for Jaha on Sunday Cadence. I want to know the real reason behind Phil's
There we go. Okay.
thinking of why Fightcade is so bad, why he refuses to play it. I pretty much know,
Ooh,
but I just want to
that's why it says Super X instead of
get it
Super
answered
Pro.
by a pro.
Who do I want to use? Super Turbo character. DJ.
Okay, everybody, Meth Bear is ready, so I'm going to mute
Right in the middle
Phil,
of my combo,
and
drop
we're
the
going to
frame.
get
You
this
saw that,
show
right?
on the road.
Right in the middle of my combo, dropped the frame so I couldn't get it, and he got out of the combo. That's so lame.
Meth Bear, buddy, you there? Meth Bear, you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Am I on?
Yep, everybody, audio good
Oh.
for Meth Bear?
Let's see it in the chat.
Yeah, just give chat a second here, and we'll see. Just make sure audio is okay.
All right. Hey. All right.
Okay, so we are good. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Just had to settle up. Just closing out the week. settling out with a client, making sure just signing a settlement agreement, making sure that he got his just some money right up front. It was just over the weekend, and we'll settle up with him afterwards and everything like that. But everything's just making sure he's taken care of. Got your professional duties. Big ups, everybody. Big ups, you mentally ill detractors and defamers, slanderers. And look at this motherfucker over here in the corner. This goddamn. You know, when I saw that, I was thinking it's some sort of like, I would imagine it's some sort of Lovecraftian beast. Is like, it's how he would consume things. Like he's like just consuming like infants in his mouth by just like shaking them in some horrific, dark world way. That's how I envision this right here. This creature that's just his jowls and his maw just destroying everything in its way. God damn.
When I saw it this morning, I was just like, holy shit. Like, what the
God
fuck
damn. I
is
mean,
going on?
yeah, I mean, Tyranids and Nurglings, I mean, they don't even, that's not even that horrible. God damn. Fucking hell. So, how's he been doing? Has he just been getting bodied the entire time?
He
He won this one.
He won that one. He won the last one too. The one guy, the first fight he had was that Guile character that guy runs to all the time. And the guy didn't fucking match up, and Phil got pissed, and then he went on to the second round, and it was just a cheese move after cheese move after cheese move.
Okay, so he's doing his online tactics and just running to the shit that he accuses everybody else of doing. So
yeah, it's pretty much
okay.
So tonight we're going to discuss the defamation. Where do you want to start? Because you sent me the iJustine transcripts, right?
Right.
And going over that, because if you want to explain the history on that for the viewers here, really quick.
Well, maybe we should just go through generally like what defamation is, and
Sure.
probably just starting there. Okay, so defamation is, if you want to get technical, what it is, basically it's an attack against someone's reputation. Okay, and what you would need to show is that, one, there was a false statement that was published to a third person that was, every state has different elements, but was heard and understood by the third person in its defamatory sense, and was, if you're talking about a non-public figure, that the publisher, the person saying the false statement, was negligent as to the falsity of the statement. If you're talking about a public figure, they had to have acted with either actual malice, or meaning that they knew that the statement was false and that it was defamatory and would cause injury, or that they acted in reckless disregard of the truth. Now, this is typically done when you have publishers, when you have reporters who don't go and check facts that are potentially defamatory before publishing them. Okay, that was one of the traditional ways that would be used. And then there would have to be some sort of actual harm, some damages resulting from that. Now that goes to your reputation. And the words themselves don't have to be offensive. They just have to be false. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be something like in the Johnny Depp case. Well, even in the Johnny Depp case is, you could say that the accusations against him of being violent against Amber Heard, and with his ringed fingers, backhanding her with all the spiky, heavy ringed fingers, but she doesn't have a single cut on her face and things of that nature, right? And to most people, I think that being accused of being such a violent brute would be offensive to them, right? But something that could be non-offensive, I would say, to the average person would be, say, if you have a person who is a health guru or perhaps a bodybuilder, they're all about the natty gains, and they're being accused of using HGH or anabolic steroids or something like that in order to increase their physique. Now, most people would, the average person would look at that and say, well, just saying that you're using the medication of itself, I mean, people wouldn't be like, oh God, like if not like you're being accused of molesting children, which would be highly offensive to the average person. This one, it would be offensive to, you personally, if you were this health guru or if you were this bodybuilder, but the words in and of itself, they're not offensive. It's just saying that you use a medication that's, you're not really supposed to use if you are, involved in that sort of activity, or if you're making these sort of claims about yourself. So that's one of those distinctions there. There's actually a common law privacy tort called false light, which is very similar to defamation, and not every state actually recognizes it. And that is when you publish a statement about somebody that is that's false, that is highly offensive, and that it's offensive and holds somebody or portrays somebody to be something that they're not. All right, and it's unlike, say, in defamation, where truth is an absolute defense. When it comes to false light, truth can be a defense unless by telling by revealing the facts in the way that you did, there was no implication that would lead to somebody being held in a false light. You see, there's like a separate step that you have to go through. So by you telling the truth in that manner, it caused, somebody would take it as or could understand it as being something offensive, then the truth is not a defense in that case. You see, it's a very fine line, and there are some states that will say that, okay, if you have a case that's effectively for defamation, you let the false light claim that would qualify for defamation, just use defamation.
Yeah,
effectively, and that's what they would just say. Some states don't recognize it at all. California, where I practice, we do have the tort of false light that's still on the books. Now, when you can further split it up into what's called defamation per se, which means the words that you use are defamation in of itself. And defamation per quad, which means that you need to have some extrinsic facts to show that what you're saying is defamatory. But when it comes to defamation per se, these things that have been either statutorily or judicially recognized as being categories of which you don't even have to prove damages. They're so highly offensive that by you going out and saying these things, if they're false, that there's going to be some presumption of damage. Now, one of them, some states, California has 9 of them. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but traditionally there's 4 to 5 that all the states that have defamation per se actually recognize. One of them is if you were being accused of criminal activity, some sort of crime. Another one is if you are being accused of having some loathsome communicable disease. Now, this would be, you got to remember, a lot of these laws were promulgated and they were developed back in the 1800s, and they're still with us today. This would be something like leprosy or an STD, syphilis, things of that nature, and which could go to your character, because it could mean that, well, you've perhaps cheated on your wife, maybe that you consort with prostitutes, You were not of moral character, which goes right to your reputation. Another one is anything that happens to have an effect or damage your business. You're not your business, but you in conducting your business.
Yeah.
There are states that have separate torts that you can make statements that harm a company itself, but this is you acting with inside of your business and conducting business on a personal level. That would affect that.
Can we consider what? Because I don't know if the case has gone through yet. That's the between what is it? The Dominion voting machines and Trump, right?
There's Trump and also Giuliani. That could be some. I'm not sure if if that's what they have. I know that those cases are out there. That would fit in on what is that you make these statements that could have a harm on the actual business as a whole, the corporation, and how it and it's being able to operate and being able to conduct business outwardly. With this defamation, this has to do with somebody on the inside. Like if you were just went after the CEO, or if you had a corporation or a small business that you were running yourself, in which you have to go out in glad hand and you have to go out and hustle and make those connections and do business, something that can affect you personally, right? But isn't necessarily against the business. That's where that is. And then there was some states make a distinction, but traditionally it was they are statements that impugn the chastity of a woman. Now, in modern times, the only way that's really going to be something that a person would find highly, highly offensive, the courts have said, is if it's a teenager, perhaps underage, in the state that you're in, depending, because some states the age of consent is 16, or it's under 18. A lot of states it's 18, but the majority of them it's 16. So if you're saying that there's some 15-year-old girl who's out there and she's unchaste and is sleeping with all these different men and whatnot, it could something that be highly offensive and harm her reputation. That might still be something. But if you're looking at an adult woman, one also the woman would also have to allege that being chaste means something to them. It's important to them. If it doesn't, like whether or not that you are a virgin or you were chaste, it doesn't matter to you, then there's no damages, there's no case, really. Some states have extended it to both men and women, in the context of if you're accusing somebody of infidelity, effectively, and it can end a marriage if you spread these lies, then that's where that's been extended to. But there are some states in which they said it only applies to a female's chastity, because she can't get married, nobody's going to want her, can't marry her off, and everybody's going to gossip about her if those lies are spread. If you're looking back in the context of the 1800s, and well, even up until the beginning of the sexual revolution, probably in 60s and 70s, that was still something that you could say was a little more important. But modernly, that would be very tough to to get through. So yeah. Now, when it comes to what is it? What would fall under if we want to assault someone with a guitar because they're wearing a scarf and or like the? Well, that would probably be like terroristic. Well, I mean, that would be like fighting words or even terroristic threats. If you want to assault someone with a guitar, like you would have to God, that's something that's you would have to actually have the means to do it, and you'd have to have the opportunity to do something. So if if Troy Baker were in, say, Florida, and Phil was watching something, or Phil heard about him saying something at a convention in Florida, and he's like, well, I'm going to take this guitar and I'm going to smash it over his head, et cetera, et cetera. He shouldn't do it, but it depends on the statute of the place that of where you are, but typically you would have to have some means and opportunity to do it. If Troy Baker were in Seattle, I would say that, that would definitely be a terroristic threat, something that could be actionable, but it just depends on whether or not the local police would want to take action against it.
Yeah.
Whether they would do anything about it. That's a major thing, is anybody going to do anything about it? And sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's just one of those rolling of the dice, in which somebody could literally have a firearm and be brandishing it on a video and just say, I'm going to put a bullet in that motherfucker's head when he comes by here, and I know exactly which convention center he's going to be, and I know that the entrance that they come in and out of for the celebrities, and I can just pop him off, and I'll have a clear line of sight. Somebody might not take action against something like that. It's crazy on who gets caught and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when you're talking about per quad, those will just be something that would require something that's extrinsic. Some people would just put as in anything else that's not per se is per quad, because you would have to have some other knowledge or some other facts outside of that to say that what you were saying is actually defamatory. And for the benefit of our European listeners, if there are anybody here who's maybe from Europe, one of the things that somebody may notice is that if you go into a lot of European countries, and especially in the UK, suits for defamation are actually quite common, much more common than in the United States. And you are more likely to win in cases of defamation, but the amounts that you would be awarded are generally much smaller. Like, I've seen a number of cases in the UK where somebody might be awarded £40,000, £100,000, something like that, right? For statements that are made. Now, this has a lot to do with, if you're looking at speech and the concept of liberty. If you look at you say America and the United States, we have freedom of speech, and freedom of speech is necessary in order for you to have, in order for us to have this liberty, and for expression of ideas, in order for our democracy to continue. But if you look at, say, and that's what it's your freedom to say what you want within limits, right? Obviously, you can't threaten people, you can't threaten to harm people, you can't instigate anybody to go out and cause harm to anybody else, right? But in Europe, it's more like liberty is your right to be, it's almost like your right to be defended or protected from certain harms, including somebody's speech, right? And so if you look at it, it's more like two apples. They're both apples, but they come from different trees, right? And so it's the protections that you have are much different. Okay, so you do have the right to speak, but it's over in Europe that it's much more curtailed. And even in France, up until not too long ago, insulting the president was a criminal act. You could end up winding up in jail or paying a heavy fine for insulting the president. It wasn't until, I believe, Sarkozy came in. When he came into office, he was the first president that they had repealed that law, in which you couldn't actually insult or defame the president or anything of that nature. So yeah, they do have criminal defamation suits or laws in a number of states, although many of them lie dormant. They're never used. I personally think that they're offensive. Criminal defamation is offensive to the First Amendment and freedom of speech, but they're very rarely prosecuted. And typically it's if you go above and beyond and you try to harm it's effectively you try to harm a public official to the point where it causes even greater harm because they weren't able to do their job because of the defamation that you spread. And it gets to the point where you're not just affecting their reputation, you were affecting other people because maybe they were put under investigation and that, you know, they were suspended or they lost an election or they were fired or something of that, or they were fired and they couldn't do their job. And things were greatly affected, like some sort of public health, public safety, something like that. Maybe financials, maybe the administration of government was disrupted because of your defamation, because of your false statements, you know, and that's where that can be used. But like I said, they're not often prosecuted in the United States, at least. So, and to go even deeper, defamation is an umbrella term. You have libel and you have slander. Slander are spoken words that are to either one person or to a group of people. It could be done through a loudspeaker, say at a speech, non-permanent form. Libel traditionally was something in written form, but with technology, it has been expanded to anytime that your words have some sort of permanence. So if they're digital, if they are recorded on audio or on video, if it's a radio broadcast would be considered to be libel. Okay. And because it's going through a different medium that's being spread out. It's not just like a simple loudspeaker in which you are just talking to the people in your area. When you're talking through a radio transmission, you are going like, you know, spread out into an area, and oftentimes those things are also recorded as well. Okay, they're put down on tape or some sort of recording. So when Phil talks about slander, you know, Kiwi Farms or detractor circles in which we're all texting each other and circle jerking each other, he actually means it's more like libel. But defamation is means both, and would be appropriate if you just use that. There would be no distinction. You don't have to make that distinction or have somebody go, oh, what? Like, it's not slander, that's libel. So, yeah. So where do you want to go from now?
So, but this is where Phil comes in, right? Because Phil will accuse us detractors of doing it on, like you said, Kiwi Farms, our Discord channels, everything like that. The media that we create, the content we create for YouTube.
Yeah.
But then Phil turns around and does it tenfold. And that's what we're going to look at here. Like, you have given me the transcript for the iJustine comment that Phil made, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Now,
the thing is that I don't know. I was actually looking for, oh yeah, the Indian defamation suits just before we, I don't know if you want to do that now or later, but we can actually, let's get to that later. And I have researched that already, and Phil's wrong. So, but yeah, that right there. If we're talking about iJustine, I was looking for some sort of raw feed because he typed that while he was live streaming this, but I haven't been able to find the raw feed for it. Maybe somebody else is able to find it. So go ahead. Did you want to read that out?
Well, yeah. So basically,
can everybody see it?
Yeah, I've got it zoomed in here on the one screen. I'll probably zoom in a little bit more. So yeah, basically, this is the comment that Phil made. iJustine is busy getting gangbanged by EA executive staff all weekend. The only fucking reason she was actually hired in the first place. Now, Phil, how could Phil know that, right? And Phil just makes it up right there on the spot. Now, this could affect iJustine. This could affect her job. This could affect her career.
It could affect her supporters, her fans, and everything like that. Now, the thing is that it could be true. It could be true, probably not. Now, that's the one thing, is that it is possible that things like that could happen. But however, the chances, I would say, would be far less than 1%. You're looking at your odds are probably greater of winning the lottery, than that being true. Let's just be quite. It's just one of those things you just gotta realize that is it cognizable? Is it something that you could imagine happened? Yeah, I could imagine it happening. Is it plausible? Is it likely? No. So where was Phil getting this information? just by his tenor, you could just feel the vitriol dripping off this, and his usual, just pissiness. It's just his bitch mentality. He knew that he was just making it up, and he was just talking shit. Because quite honestly, it's what a lot of guys will say about women. Saying they're sleeping their way to the top, or people only want them for sex, et cetera, et cetera. He's just falling back on the old tropes.
But that's Phil's mentality. Like Phil,
yeah.
Whenever, because this is Phil getting jealous too. Whenever Phil gets jealous, he strikes out. Right. And
it says, even if it's true, DSP saying it without a source. Well, it could be reckless disregard. Well, it has to be false. So if it's proven to be true, then that's a defense, even if he didn't know that it was true. That's the point, is that, you might be saying something that is false, or that you think is false, but if it turns out that it's true, you could just say, oh, it was true. It's one of those crazy things, is that it has to, in actuality, in fact, the statement has to be false. But it's like, can you do you have any evidence to show that it's true? It would be up on him to show that, and he probably wouldn't. But like I said, more than likely, it's just his vitriol and just him being a bitch. So go ahead. Sorry.
But we get that with, it's not just like iJustine. You get that with Neil Druckmann, which I got a clip here. We'll play in a little bit. You get that with Troy Baker. You get that with what's the guy from Metal Gear Solid? What's his name?
Kojima.
Kojima, yeah. And you get that with Kojima. Like, Phil has done this to many people, many content creators, many companies, Digital Eclipse being one of them, right? Where he just talks out of his ass, although, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles release here this week for Cowabunga, it's a disaster. But, like, if one of these companies, like say Naughty Dog or Ubisoft or whoever, EA executive, whatever, say they saw Phil's video and they said, that's enough is enough, could they actually take legal action against Phil?
Well, they would have to show that somebody heard and understood what he said in a defamatory sense. And then they would have to show that the people who heard and understood his statements in a defamatory sense caused some sort of damage. And that's the thing, is that, one, a lot of people who, when they're listening to Phil, they're not going to, they're probably not going to believe what he's saying is true. It's him bitching and moaning and whining, and his dents might go out there and they'll say, oh yeah, Phil, and some of them might genuinely just go along with him, or they're just saying it in chat to, give him ass pats that he so, desperately needs on a daily basis, but then you'd have to show that, well, what type of harm did that cause? What type of damage? And if it's like, okay, maybe a few dents didn't buy a game, are you really going to spend $250,000 to go after somebody on a defamation suit? That's the thing. Right. They could, but they probably won't, because people say, like, oh, you retarded devs, you just make a crappy game. People are saying all that shit all the time.
Yeah, it feels not the only one that will say that. There's others,
right,
depending on how they review the game. But then let's flip it, right? Because Phil says that we're defamatory towards him. Now, when I do my videos, I make sure I do my research before I'll actually report. And debunking Phil isn't very difficult, because Phil's a pathological liar. Could Phil turn around and, like, because there are some, I'm not going to say who, there are some content creators that do make up shit. I'm not going to lie, I've seen it happen.
Right.
Could Phil go after us? Like, would it be, like, he has no money to do so, right? But, like, could he go after us? Like, say, like, I have a video created on DSP making some fucking bombastic claim, and I debunk it. And then Phil's like, well, that's defamatory to my business. I'm losing viewers, I'm losing members, I'm losing subscribers. That's basically what he's doing right now with the whole false copyright claim, which there really isn't a false copyright claim against his channel. All the claims are actually legit. But how would that go forth? And how would Phil have, because Phil would have to prove a lot of his own stuff then, right?
Yeah,
Like, a
he would
lot of
have,
shit
like,
would
say,
have to come out.
if he comes around and he's talking about his rollback net code, and he's saying he's already gone out and told people this is how it works. I am telling you this is how it works. Or if he's and you go around and you say that's not how rollback net code works, and you go around and you debunk it and you show that Phil doesn't know what he's talking about. At that point, you're, as long as you have your research correct, you're speaking truth, and showing that and plus it really wouldn't be harming his reputation at that point. You're just saying he's mistaken. This is how it actually works. You're not saying it only applies to false statements. Now, if you're going around and you're saying Phil said that Phil said that, he had the $9,000 taken from his account, during the bank leaks, and he couldn't get it replaced, and et cetera, et cetera. And if you went and showed, well, the bank leak data showed that there were no transfers, and also the fact that if he did have $9,000 taken, Bank of America has a policy in which they would replace that money for him if it was transferred out of his account, and therefore he wouldn't have suffered any sort of actual harm if the money was taken, because they have insurance for that, and they have provision for that, that if there is fraud and it's reported early enough, you're going to get that money back. So there you go. I mean, at that point you're speaking the truth, and you are showing him to be a liar, but you're still speaking truth. So but the thing is, anybody could file a lawsuit for anything. And it's all a matter of whether or not you have enough evidence to actually sustain it, or if there's enough evidence on the face of the complaint for the case to move forward. You would go and you'd file something called a demur, in which you are effectively, it's a legal way of saying, so what? Saying even if everything that you are saying in your complaint is true, it's still not enough to carry a cause of action, at the end of the day. So, and then that can get something kicked out of court very quickly. But a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff that people are saying, even if it's, say, not true, another thing is, do people see it and understand it and believe it in its defamatory sense? Does it harm Phil? If a detractor sees something that's potentially defamatory, you're not going to go tip Phil. You're not going to go give him a massive sub bomb. You're not going to have the subs raining over him like a bukkake shower that he so desires. All right. The tips aren't going to be raining from the sky from the detractors or anything. They weren't going to be doing that anyway. So, I mean, he has nowhere to go right there. So it kind of doesn't matter if you think about it.
So, like, because speaking of the netcode part, right? Like, because he's accused the Cannon brothers of, like, having little kids up in their hotel room and everything like that, right? Like that, saying something like that, like, and even Jaha was just like, yeah, that never fucking happened.
Yeah.
And
that could
like,
be,
Phil coming out and saying that on YouTube, that could be possibly viewed by millions of people.
Uh-huh.
And then, because the day that we, like, the age that we live in now, like, you say one little thing about somebody and it fucking just spreads like a wildfire.
Especially when you're talking about little kids and everything like that. That's something like that. Even if you're going for
sorry, Victor. Yeah, Tony, that was just a couple months ago when he said that, or no, just a couple weeks ago that he made that comment about the fucking about the Cannon brothers having little kids up in their bedrooms or in their hotel rooms. That just happened a couple weeks ago. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, before he was saying, oh yeah, everybody knew that they were acting, that they were weird, and all this stuff was going on, but nobody said anything about it. But then he ended up retconning it, saying that I had no idea. Oh my God. It was like, at the time, it's like, it was something I didn't learn about until far afterwards, and there was nothing that I could do about it. And, I think he was trying to portray himself saying that if he knew that it was happening, he would have rushed up and, been hero of the day and done something about it. But, obviously that's just him retconning, because it's a problem, right? Touching little kids is a fucking problem, Phil. At the time, he originally said, "Oh yeah, people sort of knew about it. You know, kids getting touched, and you know, some teenager getting, you know, getting diddled." It's like he had that mentality of like that's funny. It's your fault, you know.
Yeah.
And but then later on, it's no, it's never good ever. And that right there, even if they wanted to go for nominal damages, um, well, like I said, it just depends on. They could probably get some nominal damages out of it, which is like $1, just so that you can go through and smack them with it, right? Just to hit them and just to at least get some judgment in your favor, showing that the statement is not true, that you're doing this.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if the Cannon brothers turned around and sued Phil for $1? Do you think he would like go fucking nuts on stream, or would he stay quiet about it?
I would say no. I think that he would go nuts and saying that they're trying to oppress him, and because this has to do with the rollback net code, and it's just proving his point that the FGC, they've always hated him, and that because he was speaking the truth, and he is the truth and the light and the way, and it's like he is the best. Whoa, what happened? Did he end the stream?
No, I just switched over to another scene here. This is I want to play this here in a little bit for because he goes off on fucking Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann.
Okay.
And just goes crazy. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So honestly, I would, if I were the Cannons and that were to come up, I probably wouldn't even do it because it would mean acknowledging DSP. Unless you can show that you could show that people were believing it and it was causing them harm. You could trace it to Phil, but most likely it's nobody's believing it because he's Phil, because he's bitching about them all the time in the FGC, and just how they would take us, they would tilt the brackets so that West Coast players were favored, and they were trying to make it so that I would get kicked out of I'd lose the tournaments early, and they were all coming after me because I was speaking the truth, and et cetera. And he would just use it as a begment, and that's what I think he would do. But I wouldn't. I would probably advise against going after him, because he'd be spending more than what it's worth, because a lot of people just don't care. He's not super that relevant. If he had done this maybe at the height of his Twitch popularity, when he had thousands of people coming in on the streams, like legitimately, maybe that was something that could be, you might want to look into, but not now. One of the reasons that we're coming after him now is because he's a liar. He's a liar, and he's making fake distress in order to fuel his gambling addiction and everything. And as Steve of the Dead said, and like what a lot of people have said, if you didn't lie and just said, "Hey everybody, I need your tips because I want to go and blow it on sweaty man jag pegs to jerk off to," and people still threw money at him, okay, whatever, just so long as you're honest about it. But now he's talking about I had this emergency, I had that emergency, I had the lawyer fees because of a crime, and he is a fraud. He commits fraud. Now he does commit fraud because there are people out there in his audience who genuinely believe him. They have psychological or social dysfunctions in which they could be easily impressionable. Some of them don't care. They just think that giving Phil money makes the trolls mad and punch the air, and they were heinously bullied when they were younger. And they're also taking care of Phil. They're taking care of somebody. Maybe they can't take care of themselves. There's all sorts of reasons why. But that's why they're doing it. They honestly, if Phil just said, "I'm blowing it so I can get drunk because I hate my life, and I'm just throwing it in this hole of sweaty man jag pegs, and it's not going to pay my bills, and I'm using it to buy DoorDash, I don't cook at home because I'm too lazy," there are people, there's still plenty of people that would still throw money at him. They don't care.
Oh yeah,
don't give a shit.
There's definitely like, no matter what we do, like you have Derek that's around, right? Like Derek's always going
Does
to believe
Derek
Phil.
actually?
He
Yeah,
doesn't
Derek's always gonna
tip.
believe Phil, but Derek does. Yeah, he doesn't tip. Doesn't unless he does it through someone else.
Yeah, like I think what was it? Was it last year that somebody tipped on behalf of Derek because Derek couldn't do it because his
Yeah,
mom wouldn't give him his credit card again. But like
yeah,
you have idiots like that. You have idiots like Jax Rax or 1 Minute
uh huh,
Man.
yeah,
Not OIC.
um,
OIC is a fucking sociopath, and he'll do it
yeah,
just to troll Phil and to troll detractors at the same time.
yeah.
So
Phil hates the fact that he relies so heavily on OIC. It makes him uncomfortable because he knows that OIC probably wants to fuck him, and or get fucked by him. And I mean, this is not. I mean, this is just OIC's got something up in his head. He's high. He's got a good job. He makes a good income. He travels for work if you really want to believe that, but he has some infatuation with Phil that involves sticking a finger inside him, or at least there's some sickness there, and Phil hates it, but he loves the money more
oh no,
than he's on.
Heather,
Yeah.
Meth Bear's spot on. There's something seriously wrong with OIC and what he wants to do with Phil. Either wear his skin as a raincoat or who knows, but OIC's fucked in the head.
Yeah, and Derek, he harasses women, but he goes and he just says weird things to porn stars, saying like, oh, I enjoy porn star X and Y, and I would love to see them work with porn star A and B, and things of that nature. And oftentimes it's like, you see these tweets that Derek says is that, oh, who wants to see me get naughty? And he's like, I would really enjoy seeing you get naughty, and at that particular porn star. It's very strange on how he reacts to these people. It's almost robotic. Like he doesn't know how to do it, and so he just says, I would enjoy that, and he just leaves it.
Did you see
Maybe it's
Did you see the picture
What's
posted on fucking on Discord this week about Derek
Uh,
and how he had like those little girl videos on his YouTube fucking favorites? Or
oh
whatever?
yeah,
like
there's that. Okay, that right there. Yeah, that right there. Like I said, oh yeah, I think I mentioned is I can foresee him being in shackles in a jumpsuit sometime in the future, because he decides that he wants to go out, unless he has a handler who's watching over him and his movements are watched. I foresee him actually going in. If he hasn't done it already, there's a good chance that he will go out and execute on this and actually victimize somebody.
Oh yeah, and
Most likely it would be a vulnerable family member, maybe a younger family member, a niece or something of that nature, when he gets old enough. If he has any, I think he has siblings, right?
I think he has a younger sister, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I think there is, because one of the pictures he had posted on his Twitter or whatever. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it could even come from a cousin's family or something like that. Just basically going and fond, more than likely, if anything. And this is just from just how these things worked. I mean, I've worked on criminal cases where with involving molestation, and it's not going to be a stranger. It's typically going to be a family member that's going to do it, who's going to be abusive and who's going to touch and molest. Even family law cases involving molestation and everything like that. It's yeah.
Just to answer Alfred's question here about him, stalking women on Twitter. It's not just Twitter; it's other YouTube content creators as well. There was just was it last week where we got that. What was that? Lisa Cha, that was doing that has her whatever channel she was doing. She was viewing a Cooking with the King fucking bullshit, right? And Derek was in her chat thinking it was actually a legit DSP stream, and he was hitting on her the entire fucking time, like just really creeping her out. And like Derek doesn't know his boundaries, I think, and that probably comes from his upbringing too, because Derek's parents, they keep him isolated, like they homeschool him. He doesn't seem to have many friends. He's always on Phil's chat, so they're contributing, even though and his parents are both lawyers, so they don't see a problem with their son. I would think they should.
Well, Maybe, yeah, they probably do. I mean, who knows what type of therapy he's getting, or what, because even lawyers can be susceptible to, ignoring these signs that they should know better. Maybe they don't work in that area of law in which they would deal with this type of stuff, you know. But you could be a physician and be in denial about your own kid being on drugs. You can see the signs and just ignore them. Happens all the time, you could be a marriage therapist, and your spouse can show the signs of somebody who's screwing around on you, or somebody who's not acting normal for how it should be during a relationship, and you're just burying your head in the sand, just denying everything.
Yeah.
You're still human. You're still an attorney. You're still a doctor. You're still a therapist. Still a psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever. You're still human. You can still be in denial.
Yeah, true. I know sorry for this about getting a little dark, but this is what we have to deal with when we run with DSP, right? Like, it's the things that come out of the fucking woodwork that involve Phil and his little cult of dent heads over there.
Mm-hmm.
Gets pretty dark. Like there's stuff that we don't even talk about. I don't even want to bring up on the channel because it's just like, yeah, I really don't want to touch that. I don't want to touch that poo.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
this is kind of, it goes hand in hand with what Phil does, because he is a fraud. He is a fucking pathological liar. And he, like a lot of people say it, he is a fucking cult leader. Like 100%.
Yeah.
And there are
he definitely uses cult-like tactics, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And there are people that are in his chat that do believe him. So when Phil makes these defamatory or slanderous claims, it's just like, Phil, you got to think about what you're saying before you say it, especially to your audience, because your audience, for whatever reason, looks up to you. And they're going to believe whatever you say. And then they're going to go out into society and think that it's okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things in which it's, I guess you could say, when you go and you a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer were to go and criticize somebody, right, and then their army goes out and attacks or brigades them, or goes to their Instagram and starts flooding their comments. It's like, obviously, in most instances, that YouTuber does not want that to happen. Okay, that's not what they were going for. In other instances, that's exactly what they wanted to happen, because they were attacking competition, perhaps. For Phil, that's what he hopes, is that it helps bring somebody down. It's sort of like when he wanted Pokimane to be banned from Twitch partnership and to lose everything she has because she showed a movie, and instead, now she just goes and she gets and he was just going clown mode about being showered in money and tips and cheers, and because she breaks the law. And no, he wants that to happen to him. He wants that big money spout from the host from the sky, just somebody to beat off on him and just to rain down all over him. That's what he wants. And he wants, rules to change to be exclusively in his favor and to punish people he sees as his enemies. And if he could have a hate army or a tarred army, and I don't mean tarred as being offensive to anybody who has developmental disabilities and like legitimate learning disabilities or developmental disabilities, people with special needs. There's people who have special needs, and then there's retards like Phil. Okay, and he would want an army of people to go out and attack if he could, and that's just the way he is. He's a dark motherfucker. He knows he's lying. He knows he's lying. He knows he's going out there and basically stealing this money from some of these people. There's at least a group of people out there who aren't looking to make the trolls punch the air. They legitimately believe him, and he doesn't care. He just wants the money. Your life is only valuable to him you as a person, your existence is only valuable to him, and the fact that you can give him money. If you die, he's not going to be sad that you died. He's going to be sad that he can no longer get money from you, just like his aunt. He was pissed off that his aunt died because she couldn't pay him partial rent anymore for his Connecticut condo.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was his beef. That was his major problem. Wasn't that, my aunt died, and now I can't get rent from her anymore. And that's all it was dollar signs. And oh yeah, she gave me gout. She gave me gout. That fucking goddamn it, Phil. Just goddamn it. Sounds like an LTG kind of a thing. What's that?
Oh dear God.
No, I know, but I mean, what sounds like an LTG type of a thing?
Yeah, I don't. Doku, can you elaborate for us?
Oh, the cult?
Like, does LTG, like, I've watched a bunch of stuff on LTG, and like, you look at all these lolcows, right? You have the Wings lolcows, you have the LTG lolcows, and the Phil ones. LTG, I find, has probably the lowest amount of actual supporters out of them all. So, but like, they all have that cult mentality, right? You have the detractors that report on them, then you have the cult that just supports them no matter what. The Covenant. Shit. I didn't know, like, I don't know a lot of background on LTG. Like, I know some. I know the Viscance shit. About the money match and the fucking grudge match that went on there. And I know about him, like, because he'll rage quit every single fight. If he's getting beat down, he unplugs his PlayStation. So, but like, I don't know enough about LTG's universe to say anything about it.
I've watched plenty of him, and I think that he comes off with this sort of almost bravado, or this fake alpha mentality, or this outward appearance that attracts that might attract a good amount of people, because he's almost like Phil, except that he's aggressively confident, while Phil is, he's not to that level.
Well, Maria's right, because I know I've seen a video where LTG refused to even turn the camera on.
He would say
tips, right?
Yeah, that's typical. And then, he'll say, "You want me to tell a story? Well, somebody tip me $20 and I'll tell a story."
Yeah.
About this or something of that nature. Yeah. And he's the whole, what is it? That your life is like a summer ant. It's like, I'm going to keep coming back and sealing up my crops, and you're going to keep coming back because you keep smelling the syrup and that whole thing. And it's like, you just want to keep coming back to me and getting bodied and getting my dick in your mouth, and you enjoy it because I'm the boss. I'm an alpha. I'm a complete badass.
Yeah. And
there are people who can be attracted to that. And Phil is he is the fake everyman, the guy who can't catch a break, the guy who should be successful by every measure of what we know in society, right? Who's been here for a long time, who's put in the hours and put in the time to say, if you work hard and you're determined, and then you should get success. And according to the some old-fashioned an old-fashioned mentality. But he's not, and he's struggling constantly, and it shouldn't be that way. And poor guy, right?
Yeah,
and people are just fucking with him, and he just wants to be honest and show us how the games really are, and there are people who buy it,
Yeah. Here, let's play this video now.
Yeah.
Just go. We'll just show. This is just from a couple days ago. This is from Wednesday, I believe, when Phil went on his spurg against Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann over the $70 release for Last of Us Part 1.
You can wait. I'm not saying don't play it. By all means, I'm not saying don't play it. I'm saying wait. Wait a few months. Wait 6 months. Wait till the game price drops to a reasonable price. Because if the Last of Us 1 re-release was $40, I'd be like, buy it now. It's worth it. Better graphics, accessibility features. It's half a game, pay half the price. Buy it now. I probably would have bought it and played it, honestly, if it was $40. But I cannot justify a $70 price tag. That is a premium price. You are lining the pockets of Naughty Dog. That's all that is. That is an absolute definition of a cash grab. And the thing is, they justify it. Oh, look at all the accessibility we added. Look at all this and that. It's still $70. It's still $70. You're still doing it for money. You're doing it for a quick cash grab. I'm sorry. You can't argue against it. The facts are there.
No shit.
You know? But people want to be, we're so up our own butts with this whole positive movement of Neil Druckmann is our leader and Naughty Dog is doing the best things for gaming and blah, 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 that they don't want to see past that filter that they've got over the situation. All right? Expand Dong says just a few years ago, they gave you the Crash Trilogy or Spyro Trilogy remakes for $40 each. Where did we all go so wrong? Again, they got away with this horseshit 2 years ago, and now they think they could continuously keep doing it. Wow, we actually pulled that off 2 years ago. We actually made this argument that The Last of Us 2 is not necessarily, a game you buy because it's the best game, but because it's the right thing to do. And they got away with it. They sold a ton. Did it sell as much as other big releases? No, but it sold a ton. Ended up being one of their most successful games ever. So they're going to continue on and feel like they can do no wrong as long as they hide under this guise of the things that they're doing. I'm incredibly happy that they added in all these accessibility features. I want to see every AAA game have them. I don't want every AAA game to resell themselves for $70 because of accessibility. That's bullshit. There's no justification for it.
So, like, when Phil did this video, and there's more to it, I don't want to play the entire clip because he goes on for like 30 minutes on this bullshit. But you look at the things he said there for Naughty Dog, right? Like, oh, you're just lining the pockets of Naughty Dog and follow their leader, Neil Druckmann, and he makes the fucking clown mode, right? And then Phil doesn't understand that the game is not a remaster. It's a complete from the ground up remake. All he thinks that they're doing is, they're throwing some graphics to it and they're adding accessibility features. When no, that's, if you actually went to the Naughty Dog website, you would see that there's a massive amount of work being put into this remaster. And then Phil turns around and tells everybody, don't buy it because it's horse shit and it's just a cash grab. And it's like, but Phil, your memberships are a cash grab. You don't offer any better perks for your different tiers of memberships. You just say, give me money, and basically you're supporting the channel. So if people want to pay Naughty Dog $70 for the game and support Naughty Dog, that's the same as the Dents supporting Phil by becoming a super supporter.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that his criticism would be a little more valid if there was almost no work really done to the game, or if it was a literal re-release of the original, and the amount of work that would have had to conceivably be put into it. Let's just say if it was Last of Us 2, wait, was that one? That was for PS4, and there was no, was there a PS5 release?
I don't think so, but I think you can play the PS4 version on the PS5, but there's no extra benefit to it.
Right. But let's just say if they came out with a PS5 capable release, and it's not, it wasn't a ground up, or from a ground up remake. I could see that there could be some more validity there. You're saying that, I mean, look at maybe what they did. They barely did anything, or it's the same game. Maybe they added in some slight tweaks here or there on the menu. But honestly, it's like, and people can look at that just from the outside and just say, yeah, it doesn't look like they really did much. They're basically just re-releasing this. It's almost like you're re-releasing the same movie into theaters again, and asking for more money. It's like, well, what have you done? What is this? Is it new? Is it remastered? Is there anything different to it at all? It's like, no, it's just the same thing. Just go ahead and give us even more money. Okay, fine. But if you're talking about from the ground up, and it's also verifiable that people can just go and look and see that there's been a lot of work that's done to it. I mean, and of course, but the thing is, it's a cash grab. Of course, they want to make money.
That's one of their most successful games. Re-release it, make money.
But it's also the point. That's the point. You go out there, company has to make money. Company has to make money for to satisfy the shareholders and to also to keep their jobs. And if but the thing is that if any product you put out there at the end of the day, if people are willing to pay money for it, even if you really haven't done anything, it's like it's a crappy thing to do. But if you sell a lot of it, it's like, there you go. Congratulations, I guess. It's like you people went and bought the same game twice, just like Phil did when it came to the what was it, the was it 30th anniversary or the Fighting Collection?
He's got it for Xbox. He's got it for Xbox. He's got Capcom Fighting Collection. He has like 6 versions of Skyrim, 4 versions of GTA, and it's just like, but no, I'm not going to buy a third copy of Naughty Dog or of Last of Us Part 1 because I hate Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann.
Basically, yeah. I've heard 70 is too much, but 50 or 60 for years. I would say that if it was $60, it's like this is marginal, for some people, but I mean, there's a principle of the thing. I would say that if this was if it was a $60 game, and which is, becoming the new normal, then I would say that he would have less to bitch about. There is something about, being $70, but, still, like you said, there was a lot of work that was put in on the game, and so they have to recoup their costs somehow.
From what I've seen, like I compare it to, if people remember the Warcraft 3 Reforged that came out. Blizzard promised so much fucking shit that it was just like, man, this game's gonna be phenomenal, and the game came out and it's like, this is the exact same fucking game. Where's all the stuff that you promised? Then Phil would have a leg to stand on. But from what I've seen from Naughty Dog, like the stuff I've looked on for my video here that I'm working on still, Naughty Dog has gone way beyond doing a traditional just remaster. And it's a complete from the ground up remake. You're adding ray trace shadows, reflections, and lighting. You're adding in better accessibility features. You're taking use of the DualSense 5 controller. And there's a whole new sound system being put into the game. The engine is brand new for the PlayStation 5. So it's not like Phil thinks they just copy and paste and then that's the game. He has no idea on how game development works, but he's going to tell his viewers on how game development works.
Right. Yeah. But now if you look at that and you say, is it slander? Or is it defamation? Is it slander? Is it liable? No, it's not. Would it have an effect on their business? No. His audience is way too small. And like he said, he's hoping that some dent buys it for him anyway so that he can fucking play it, which means that Naughty Dog still ends up getting the money from somewhere, Phil. All right? And it's... So he's end up going to be feeding the machine that he's attacking, because he wants it to be a one-way street. He wants to receive the benefit but give nothing in return. It's just like he has with his relationships. Like with Panda Lee, it was... Get up, you're sick, bitch. Get up and make me dinner. How dare you have a panic attack and make me come to the hospital and everything like that. That's his mentality. It's completely selfish in one way. And I get everything I want. You get nothing of what you want. And he puts up the facade of, oh, we're here to have fun, good conversation. No, he knows that it's trash and it's bullshit, and so he just give me money for existing. That's his mentality. So fuck him.
I just like.
So, but yeah, it's not. But just if you're saying that a company is going out for a cash grab and wants money and is trying to make money, I mean, a lot of what companies do are cash grabs and going out and making money. I mean, fucking Pokemon cards. Oh my God! You get enough Pokemon cards together, and you could just fucking smell the onions. Shit.
I know. There's a really good tech YouTuber called the channel's called Bitwit, and he loves his Pokemon cards. Like he loves his collections and everything, and playing and everything. And I watch it, and I'm like, because I was never into things like Pokemon cards or Magic the Gathering or Pogs or anything like that. My brother was, and those things are a massive fucking cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just
it's gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You know, you know, I just activated my joke trap. That's something from Meat Canyon and what he did the Yu-Gi-Oh parody from some time ago. Everybody check out Meat Canyon. But you know, it's you're hoping for cards, you're hoping for for some foil you know, pack or some foil card or something of that, and maybe it comes up, maybe it doesn't. You know, when I did Magic the Gathering for a little bit, and you know, I'd go and get some booster packs, and when I just keep on, you know, getting some fucking land cards and just the same goddamn cards over and over again, I'm just like, it's fuck this, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know, so
just want to give a shout out here, Ravens Dolphins in the chat, everybody. But like
big up Raven.
Big up Raven, yep. But like, he's gonna play no matter what. He's gonna play Last of Us Part 1 because some dent's gonna donate it to him, and then he's gonna change his tune. He'll change his tune and be like, "Wow, this game looks amazing and it plays so much better," and then he'll completely change his mind. He'll just shit on it right now, and then he'll fucking just rise it up so that he gets the money when he actually does play.
No, it'll be fun gameplay, and it'll be his masterful him using his ingredients in his gameplay to create a fun gameplay experience that will keep people from wanting to put a shotgun in their mouth, according to him. Because all these people are having bad days, and it's just all of his people are fucking miserable, but Phil keeps them from Minecrafting themselves on a daily basis. It keeps them from beating their kids or something like it. So that's why he had his meaningful content. And there it is, The Last of Us, shitting on it now, but when it comes time, it's, you know, just start bukkaking money all over me, baby. And but yes, actually here, Warhammer figures, yeah, I have some personal experience with that one. It's not gotcha because you know exactly what you're fucking getting, but you know, when you're just trying to get your points onto the fucking table, or even if you start getting into, you know, Forge World shit, you know, it can be a bit pricey.
Meth Bear and I were talking about the Warhammer here just recently, because I used to collect the models, a buddy of mine, and I used to collect and paint the models when I was younger. I haven't done it in like 30 years though.
Yeah, I mostly played Warhammer Fantasy, dwarves. God, what was the size of my? I think I had not gonna lie, I think I had like a 12,000 point dwarf. I have a 12,000 point dwarf army. That was from before they did that whole end times abortion thing. And now they're into, you know, Age of Sigmar with the Sigmarines and bullshit. And I couldn't get into it after that because, you know, it's like I have to probably rebase my figures a lot. And we there was a battle bunker that was in my region you could go to, but then they ended up, you know, shrinking it down and getting rid of the game tables, and it's just the small store. So yeah, I haven't been able to play in a while, and also I got like a fuck ton of Necrons.
That, I actually have. I think we still have a big store here in Edmonton, in Kingsway Mall.
Yeah,
it has a bunch of game tables and everything still there, and it's not a small store; it's a big fucking store.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they have a place where you could viably play. I mean, I haven't been able. I know that they have had places around, but I don't know. But it'd be interesting. But you have to find somebody who'd be able to go out and play, you know, old, like, well, oh God, what was it? Fifth edition? Was it 6th edition fantasy? 5th edition, 6th edition fantasy before they did end times, because yeah, I'm not doing all that bullshit. Or, you know, but my Necrons are basically not put together. Just got to finding time to put, you know, to work on them is a fucking bitch. So, but I got my enamels. I got my my Gunza Sangyo, because I have like enamels. I got lacquers. I got acrylics. Got my airbrush and, you know, everything like that. And it's just you know, I like to hand paint with lacquers, like either Gaia Notes, Gunza Sangyo, like the Mr. Hobby stuff. That's pretty good. A lot of people don't. You airbrush it. It's like, no, you can hand brush it. You just got to use the right mixture, and it can give you a fine finish. Just make sure you do lacquer first, then enamel, and then acrylic on top. So, and 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 lacquer washes really work too if you want to do shading. So yeah, but anyway, retard here. Yeah, so shit. What do we what are we talking about next?
Whatever you want to talk about. Like, we've talked about defamation and slander. What about harassment when it comes to Phil?
Well, we know that Phil already has he got banned off of Twitch for a couple days back in the Bluebeard guy. I think I mentioned this previously. And it's actually funny. I went and did a search on PigPigGo for Phil, in which for out of context and out of character. It's one of his distinctions that he makes, and he seems to conflate the two. Being out of character means that it's something that it's a behavior or an action that you take that is because of some outside force or something going on in your life, or perhaps it is, through drunkenness or drugs or something that you would not normally do. And it is something that is singular, and oftentimes it's would not repeat itself. But for this influence, you would not have done that action. And I searched for out of context, and let me see. Out of context, the phrase, I think that a lot of this has to do with, just how PigPigGo can pick up transcripts. But if I did, if I just did of context, like out of context, I end up getting 210 results. But if I put the phrase in out of context, I get 184. So there's actually a few more in there. So there's maybe about 190, 195 instances that it's picked up where he's used the term at least once during a video.
Yep.
But when it comes to out of character, there's 31, but I can only really count like 3 instances in which when he's referring to out of character when it comes to himself. And one of those instances was, when he ended up insulting and bullying and harassing that Twitch partner with the blue beard. That was one of the times in which he said, "Oh, Phil, when this type of thing, it's out of character for you." And it was one of those things in which he sort of like breathlessly, it's like when he's rattling off his, we're having fun gameplay and cool conversation. He just sort of like jumps off of it because he knows that it's kind of crap. You don't have fun conversation. He knows that they don't have fun conversation when he's just sitting there going, nah, and he looks at something and says, "Shut the fuck up," to somebody in chat. He knows that's not fun. And it's something he tried to really gloss over, but it's, a lot of what he does, it's more like bullying, not necessarily it's harassment. There was when he was on, who was it? Was it Ninstar Rune that he told to go and fill up the PS, his PlayStation, to slam his account so that he couldn't do anything anymore.
Shit. Yeah, who was that? Was that Ninstar Rune? I remember that where he just told his audience to go and flood him so he can't fucking do anything more.
Yeah.
Does anybody in chat know? I can't remember. I think Meth Bear is right. I think it is Ninstar Rune.
Yeah, and then when Ninstar Rune, when he was setting up his Xbox, he went and got the code that was on the screen, and then Phil started slagging off Xbox by the fact that they put the code up onto the screen for you to register your Xbox, and by the fact that it wasn't set up with him setting it up on stream in mind, that allowed Ninstar Rune to get access to his Xbox. And register it under his name.
Yeah, I remember it locked Phil out there, and Phil got all fucking pissy and everything, and you had to unregister the Xbox and re-register it. Even his own audience was telling him, "Why didn't you do this before the stream?"
Yeah.
And that could have been Phil's option, easily just not show it on screen, not show the code. He could have had this all set up and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't because he was an idiot. I can't remember. I don't even think chat knows because that was back in 2020, right? When he did it.
I thought it was. I thought that was even earlier. Is that? Wait, when was that?
Look it up here online.
Flood his inbox or what? Okay, this was that was back in, was that 2015?
I thought it was the Xbox Series X when he first got it.
To punch his teeth, somebody like to flood somebody's inbox and to punch his teeth in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back in 2015.
So it must have been the Xbox One then.
Right. Yeah, I just pulled up the he wanted money and wanted to flex July 2021. Was that the latest? Well, I know that was the latest Xbox, but there was one thing when he says, you have my permission to go and flood his inbox so that he can never do anything ever again. Maybe he's done it twice then if it was back in July of 2021.
I know he did that to the person. Wasn't it the guy that came on? Not the guy that said, how's your daughter doing? But it was somebody else there doing voice chat.
Uh-huh.
I know there was one prior where he told his audience to go and find this guy or whatever. And
yeah, I think that was the one in 2015. There was, yeah. So I mean, he's done it. He's done it.
Yeah. He's done it multiple times.
He's done it multiple times. Yeah. So that right there, that's bullying. Well, the thing is that when it comes to harassment is more than, but this goes by state, but just the general definition of harassment is more than one, it is more than one unwanted contact with an individual. Okay, that could be, cause you distress, or it could cause disruption, or an uneasiness, or so. But it has to be more than one contact. It can't. So if somebody comes up to you, and let's just say if there's a guy bugging a female or something like that, and she says, not interested, I'm sorry, can you go away, and he stops, it's not harassment. If they come back and they do it again and one more time, that could be it. But typically they're going to, depending on what the behavior is, I mean, the more severe that second contact is, the more likely it is that they'll find harassment. But it could take a few times for to show a pattern of behavior for it to really be harassment that could be actionable. All right, it just really depends on the context, and you have to show that you fully communicated that you wanted them to stop talking to you at some point. But if you just say, well, I tried to show signs or mixed signals without actually saying that I didn't want to talk to them, it's like, that doesn't fucking work. You actually have to say, stop bothering me. You can't just say, well, they should have assumed it, or they should have known. No. You have to be clear about this. And so is it harassment? Probably not. Bullying? Yeah. Is it bullying behavior? Definitely. So it's harassment if especially if Phil were to go out and for the same person to have his people go out and attack somebody on multiple occasions, then it wouldn't necessarily be Phil. I mean, it would ultimately, well, I mean, it could be him if he directed his people to go do it. Like in that instance, he says, you have my permission to go and do X, Y, and Z. He could potentially be held at least civilly responsible. But his dents would, the ones actually doing it would be the ones who would be directly responsible, for doing that.
You can do that though, like just based on like every day this week, except for yesterday when Phil had his day off.
Uh-huh.
He would be slandering Naughty Dog and fucking Neil Druckmann. Like he plugged it like 3 or 4 times this week.
That wouldn't be harassment.
But it's the same
That wouldn't be
spiel over
harassment.
and over and over again, right? Like, don't
Yeah,
buy this game,
it's
blah,
him.
blah, blah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be harassment. It would be him, going out there and, insults. Insults aren't on their own defamatory. If you're just making because the thing is that it would have to cause some sort of reputation loss, and if the people somebody would have to effectively believe it, and then that somebody believing that, like when Amber Heard went out and said, Johnny Depp did X, Y, and Z to me, and that cost Johnny Depp his starring roles in Pirates of the Caribbean. It cost him a lot of money. A lot of people went out and they, thought, oh wow, you were beating the hell out of Amber Heard constantly. You were breaking bones. You were doing this. You were doing that. You were torturing her on a daily basis. And if you saw some of the trial, just the way that she was acting, I see women like that. Men and women. I see people like that, and when involved in family law cases, you see people like that a lot. And they turn on the fake tears and they just stop all of a sudden, and then they'll do some snarky comment at you, or they try to establish dominance all of a sudden if you attack them or if you question them, and then they'll just fall right back into crying. It's like, well, where were your fucking tears just a few seconds ago?
That's Phil and T, basically, right?
Yeah, it's Phil and T. Yeah, when he tries to do that, in which he'll be and then he'll just go and be talking normally, and then he's like, oh crap, I need to get the emotions welling up again. So where he rallied his audience to harass people on Xbox Live. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's so many instances of him doing this shit. It's it's just a part of him. But the thing is that he doesn't have that clout anymore to go and do that. And plus it would go against his his bullshit rebranding, in which it's fun and positivity, and I'm this positive guy now. And if he's going out and says, I give you permission to go and fuck with this guy, he himself will say to him, he says, if someone comes into my stream and they say something, I'm defending myself. I need to go and cut this motherfucker's head off and put it on a spike for my chat to defend myself. For somebody who that's his general reaction is, your first offense is crucifixion. He does it for the dents, and he does it for himself to make himself look big. And otherwise, because if he just tried to ignore it, he might think, well, these people are going to think that I'm a bitch. I mean, he is a bitch. He's always going to be a bitch. But he just can't. He just doesn't want to look like one. It would probably help him if he were to ignore it and he were to look even more like a victim. But his ego just, no, I have to be the alpha. I have to be the dominant victim. You see, he has this cognitive dissonance going on, in which he has to be the winner and the loser at the same time. It's when he's playing these games, and when he's playing like online games, and he's talking about lag and saying you can't do that in real life, and I'd be able to punish, and I would be perfect in these people. It's like I imagine Phil, when he's playing these games, he sees himself as Neo from the Matrix, in which at the end when he's fighting Agent Smith and he's literally looking away as he's deflecting all of these blows gracefully. And I think he imagines himself as that, because he took 4th place in Evo all those years ago. It's like he has this masterful command of the game that has not diminished at all. And, he reached that height. So it's impossible for him to be any less. And so anybody who manages to beat him is somehow, who's not one of these 3 Japanese guys, somehow cheating. They're somehow scrubbed. They're somehow using online tactics, and it's impossible.
That's his internet tough guy persona, though,
yeah,
right? Because we
know,
in real life, like what Jaha's told us here recently, is that in real life, he's a coward and he'll run and hide or he'll cry. But when he gets online, he's in your face. But then as soon as you show up on his doorstep, Phil's just, oh no, don't hurt me, Mr. Jaha, right? Like, and then, so like, when you see that, like, how can he then command the Dents to go and harass somebody? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Like some of these Dents have come, are
They've been bullied themselves. They're as fucked up.
They've been
as
bullied
Phil.
themselves. Yeah, they're as fucked up as Phil. They have this cognitive dissonance within themselves, and in which Phil is simultaneously the winner and he's also the victim and the loser, but he's a victim not through his own actions. It's outside forces that's doing. It's like in wrestling, if you are the champ, if you're the babyface, the heel wins through some sort of trickery, and it's okay if the babyface loses, just so long as there was something else that a normal person, or some wouldn't be able to sustain. Like when the Undertaker beat Hulk Hogan for the title, what was it, in SummerSlam, and I think it was like 91 or something. He did the Tombstone Piledriver on the belt, which caused Hogan to be knocked out. And so it's like, Hulk Hogan was defeated, but he had his head slammed into the big gold belt. Who could sustain that? And so, you set something up later in which it's like, it wasn't his fault. If somebody uses brass knuckles or ether or something of that nature, somebody gets clubbed when the ref doesn't see. It's at that point, it was dirty tricks. It's not his fault. He can't be blamed for that. He'll come back and get them later. And that's how he sets things up. He has these promos. He's cutting a promo, and he's trying to kayfabe it, and just trying to live his life like that. It's like, I'm always trying to fight and chasing that belt, and him always trying to be the baby face all the time, until the heel slips out, in which he just starts telling people to stick their tongue up his ass and suck turds out of his butt. But that's just him,
the
getting
wrestling
off.
thing is perfect analogy of Phil, like fucking person.
Yeah.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah. I mean, he's just the way he's living his life, because it's his game. It's his sexual preference. It's, just how he sees himself. And it's how oftentimes he runs his streams. Oftentimes he will do things that are almost, there have been people who've caught him using phrases that are from wrestling promos from the past.
Yeah.
And sometimes he does it. I mean, he does it really shittily, but he's still trying to do a promo. He's trying to get over, But instead, he's the drizzling shits, and he doesn't know shit from apple butter, and he's basically almost like he should have the derision and hatred of Vince Russo. Go fuck yourself, Vince Russo. So. God damn.
Right. Does anybody have any questions? Any more questions for Meth Bear in regards to the slander, defamation, harassment?
Don't get me wrong. There are people who definitely have said shit against Phil that's been made up, not necessarily true.
Well, the escort saga, right? But again, like,
well, he was flying a bitch in from outside and spending money on her for sex. That was Cat. Okay,
that was Cat,
and.
Yeah.
That was Cat. So it wasn't, he was paying for a bitch to come out and, to fuck.
He wasn't getting a high-class hooker. It was just Cat.
He wasn't getting a pro. He wasn't getting a high-class hooker. It was Cat. So, and I mean, maybe he did. Maybe he did go on, maybe in between, oh God, actually, I don't even know if Phil would be able to tolerate hiring a local escort from the Washington area to come to his, to his place and do that. I think he'd be too much of a fucking pussy to try and buy pussy that way. You go and do it a legitimate way and get a girl to, move in and take care of you that way.
That's what he wanted.
Panda.
Right? He wanted that mother figure again, right? Because he had Panda was cooking for him and cleaning. She was gone. He even admitted that he couldn't cook and clean for himself. Then he married Kat, and she just cooks and cleans.
What bear am I? I'm Meth Bear.
Meth Bear. He likes meth.
I'm a member on your channel, Raven. I'm talking to you at like fucking 3 a.m. and shit. Is that you have a gambling problem? Dude, come on. Wake up, wake up and smell the steak. actually, Texas Roadhouse, or God, is there a Longhorn around here? Maybe we should go to Longhorn instead. Something nuggets of truth. Yeah, he hit him with like GTG. Well, GTG is like, dude, shut the fuck up about nugget of truth, or the snippet of truth. And what he does is that he tries to say, oh, Phil plays mobile games, and what he tries to set up is Phil plays mobile games, and this is where you can get into something like perhaps it's more like a false light claim, in which if you say something that's true, but if in the way that you present it, there's it's presented in a way to look bad, and it can be offensive. Like if you post somebody's picture up and you just say, somebody who's known to be very, say, financially responsible, or perhaps somebody who works at a bank, and you go up and you say, oh, this person's declared bankruptcy. It's not offensive to say somebody's declared bankruptcy, but if you're somebody who's, say, a financial manager, and somebody says that you've declared bankruptcy, and it could, it could be in that way highly offensive because it's not necessarily going to harm your reputation, but it could be offensive to you, especially if you hold that thing like being financially responsible or being fiscally responsible dear. Actually, being a financial manager, that would really harm your reputation. If you were just a normal person and somebody just says that you were declaring bankruptcy or you were cheating on your spouse or something like that, that could be a false light claim, because sometimes it might not, honestly, in today's day and age, something like that might not be considered to be offensive in of itself. In the same way, they're starting to reconsider whether or not catching your wife in bed with another man would be sufficient for there to be a manslaughter charge. Like, you catch someone in bed with your wife and you're just so distraught that you kill the man or you kill both of them, and so you end up having the mitigating circumstance of manslaughter. Like, you were seeing red and you were enraged that somebody was sleeping with your wife. There are certain legal circles now that are starting to say that, well, you should sort of expect your wife to go and fuck someone else, and you should be okay with it. And you shouldn't get that mad at it because, it shouldn't be that big of a deal for you to want to kill somebody, right? Because, matrimony is not, the religious aspect of it isn't as keenly tied to it and to marriage. And so it's, well, they're not offending God by doing this, so why are you getting so butthurt about it? Yeah. What do we got here? What do you think of all the detractors and everyone being on Phil case more than ever? Do you think it affects us? Well, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's us. I think it's the Wings trolls who are doing it. Superhound might actually be going. I'm sorry. What was that?
I was saying good night to Heather.
Okay, I think it's the Wings trolls and maybe even Superhound is going after him. I think, like you said, he got the community guideline strike, which he was trying to portray as something that could shut his channel down, which it really wouldn't. It would just age restrict the video, and his streams weren't getting hit. It was his videos that were getting hit. So he's like, well, I'm still able to stream, so it's not that big of a deal. It's like, they weren't hitting your streams.
I don't think they could hit his streams because he privates them, so YouTube no longer sees it as a threat because they've been privated, right? And then he has
actually privating videos doesn't work anymore. From that, they back when he had the copyright strikes back in 2015, when he panicked like a little cuck bitch and just thought, and he just knew that deleting the videos would definitely get rid of the copyright strikes. Back then, privating the videos would solve the problem because people wouldn't have access, but they've changed it to where privating the videos, they're still on YouTube servers. YouTube still has it there. And so that won't stop it. Back then, privating the videos would have protected him, but he just went and deleted them. And, he then lied and said first Machinima, and then he said YouTube, sent him an email to delete them. That's the only way. And like I've said, you know, if YouTube or Machinima sent me an email saying the only way that this will stop right away is if you delete all these videos, and I wrote them back and I said, is this going to affect my channel in any way? Is it going to hurt my analytics? Is it going to cause any negative impact? And it was something like, no, it will not cause any negative impact. You know, this is the only way that we foresee that you could do this. And it turns out to have caused the damage that Phil inflicted on himself. You know, he's the guy riding the bikes. He's that cartoon with the guy riding the bike, and he sticks the stick into the front spoke and he falls over. That's what he did to himself. I'd be showing that email to all the time. Look,
yeah, like if YouTube really did that,
told me.
Yeah, like if YouTube really did it, then show everybody the email, Phil, because we know that they didn't. Then he changed the story that it was Machinima that told him to do it, and now he's back to YouTube that told him to do it. But he did it on his own and fucked up his channel.
Yeah. So, but is it what do I think? I mean, honestly, I mean, my thing with Phil is, yeah, I like laughing at him. If he disappeared, it wouldn't be any. If he was gone and he had to go back into the real world, he would. I don't know how long he would survive. He wouldn't be able to live in the Wakanda anymore. He wouldn't be able to afford it. But if Phil were looking like that, it's been tough. If he had that crying face all the time after, at the end of every stream, because the support was so low, and he is just stressing the fuck out constantly, that would be okay with me. Just him just whining and complaining and being the king of suffering and the king of cuckery, because he has to now choose. It's am I actually going to pay my bills? Or he can't get enough Scopely to cope, because he's using alcohol and he's using WWE champions as a coping mechanism for his fucked up life. Okay, because he's paying to win in a game. Look, I'm a winner. I'm a big badass, and people want me because I'm really high ranked and I'm making moves, and people need me in order to in these guilds or these clans, in order to make progress in these group events. And I'm a somebody over there, and I just have to pay. I have to pay for it, but I'm a somebody, and it's a sign that I have money and I have wealth to these other people who have money and wealth to blow on this game, right? He needs that psychologically. If he has to choose and he has to cut back, it's gonna fuck with him. At that point, he'd probably balance it out by drinking more, which would make for more fun streams, because drinking is cheaper than Scopely. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than Scopely. He can get a lot of fucking Tanqueray or Tito's. It's definitely an ego thing. He has to be the winner. He has to be on top. Do I feel bad about it? No. I mean, don't go too hard, and try not to kill it. But if he happens to go down, it wouldn't disturb me that much. I mean, yeah, I would be, in a way, I would be kind of like, crap. There's, we're losing that source of entertainment. But one, he would no longer be cheating and fucking around with these people. Some of them would probably still donate him money even if he wasn't streaming anymore.
Oh, definitely.
They would definitely be donating him, saying, "Oh man, the trolls got you, Phil." But the thing is that his quality of life would greatly decrease. Fuck, what is he gonna do? Go to Facebook gaming, or wait, is D Live still a thing? I haven't checked. I mean, are people out there? It would be oh no anyway. Yeah. Be like, oh no. Yeah, like Top Gear. He's like, oh no. Well, anyways, and yeah, you maybe move on to somebody else to look at, or just find something else to entertain ourselves with. But well,
yeah, like Phil made that. He begged the people to stop false copywriting striking him after he challenged them to false copyright strike him. But he made that comment, it's like, if I go, you guys have nothing to do. And I said, I'm like, fine, I'll fucking ride off into the sunset smoking a big fatty blunt.
Yeah,
Like, but there's other lol cows that I would report on. I would probably move over to somebody like LTG, learn the history, learn the ropes of LTG, and then maybe start reporting on LTG or Ethan Ralph or somebody else. Like, there's tons out there.
Yeah, I understand that. Who is that? Like, there are people who are into Amberlynn Reed. I think that who was Sav was into Amberlynn Reed, but apparently she's just not that interesting anymore. Not nearly as interesting. She had a lot of gold dust back in the day, but now I guess she's bedbound and it's just not that interesting. Do you think that the drop we've seen might just be a road bumper? I mean, he lost Super Blind Man. He lost Rob on Wheels, but that was because of his own. He attacked the very core of Man. He attacked Super Blind Man for being blind and Rob on Wheels for being who they were.
Yeah.
That's what happened. It wasn't the WWE Champions thing. I don't think that either of those guys really cared.
Well, it was a Twitter spat between Super Blind Man and Phil over the accessibility options in Last Dance 2. And then Phil was like, you don't see what I see. And it was just like, no shit, Phil. Like, why would you say that to somebody that's visually impaired? And then
Super Blind Man, he's not. Rob on Wheels got in. Didn't Rob on Wheels saying that he stands with Super Blind Man or something like that?
Because he replied to Phil's tweet and said basically, why the fuck would you say that? Blah, blah, blah. And then Rob on Wheels said, I stand. But what pisses me off about that scenario is that it took Phil insulting their disability for them to see that Phil is just a piece of shit. But they were okay with Phil insulting other people, let it be for race, gender, sexuality. They were okay with it. But as soon as he attacked their disabilities, that's when they walked away. And to me, that's fucking shit. Like, that's just bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, because if you really think about it, Phil, if he would attack people, it would be just saying, oh, they're mentally ill. They're mentally ill, lame-brained morons who have kids who don't have any adult responsibility or adult bills or an adult female wife, an adult female cat, or an adult cat to take care of, and they don't have families, and they just couldn't possibly understand these things. And so Phil made fun of that one. There was one time he had he was playing with fans, and there was a guy who had an obvious speech impediment, in which he's like, hey, you guys are really cool. And it was, you had to really listen. You could understand him. You just had to really like lean in and listen. And because, the audio quality might not have been that great, but
it was him and Rambo. The guy had a lisp, and him and Rambo were laughing at him the entire time.
No, this was well, apparently with that one, people were saying that guy had been just a complete cock the entire time and was just a dick.
Wasn't the guy was like, he was asking, because I remember the video. I remember the one you're talking about, because the guy was like, yeah, you guys are really good. And then Phil would be like, why don't you just shut up or something like that? And it was just like,
what I think was that even before that, he was doing something that was he was being a bit obnoxious before he became, I guess a bit nicer. But by that time, I'm not sure. I have to check. I'm talking about another thing in which this was after Rambo, and he was already in Washington at this time, in which you could see him on camera, and he's like, "Wow, you guys are like really cool. I can talk. I can really talk to you guys." And this guy had a very severe speech impediment, and Phil had this like and was just laughing at him for the way that he was speaking, and was like really trying to hold back the laughter from just ragging on this young fan. And but other than that, I don't really know him making any type of attacks or insults against people for physical disabilities. It's mainly you're just a stupid know-nothing kid, or you're a sheltered adult who's never had to pay adult bills. in your life, and so you shouldn't speak. That's his, his main thing. So yeah, this was something that it was just unusual for him to go that far. But I mean, he was challenged, and so you can't let the piggy challenge you. You got to scourge him. You got to whip the shit out of him to get him back in line, no matter what. And most of the time they do, but this time he went too far. So will there be bleeding and hemorrhaging? I mean, he's had some good days. I mean, obviously when you got the copyright strikes, the copyright strike, and he was drumming up that drama. Yeah, he had some good days, but he's not been doing. I mean, he had an okay August, but it wasn't like past August, right? His income is definitely downward trending, and he's going to have a bad month.
Oh, yeah, like I said, he's $22,000 behind this time last year. So yeah, he's definitely lost money. Now, is that of the shit that's going on? Probably not. I think just people are probably tired of Phil. I think his audience is moving on to other things. So, like,
I do think the WWE Champions thing probably had an effect of slowing. Yeah. I mean, people were a little more hesitant because he was saying that WWE Champions, like these people, they just get this nugget of truth and the snippet of truth, and I don't do this, and then it's there that people, they go and they get onto Tractor content, they go on the farms, they know what's going on. His fans, they mention it, they bring it up, they're keenly aware. Some people, because there was nothing direct, and it was all speculation, and it was things that are completely made up, and but then he has it on his own stream on a video that's still up, and it's been shown. This is what the screen looks like. This is the challenge mode, the timed challenge mode, or the there's like a duel when you're like fighting against other people, and you only have a certain amount of time to do it. That's what that screen is. It's going into Champions. Combine that with the bank leaks. I'm sure there are some who are withholding support when they would have been a little more generous in the past. I mean, you could just see that a lot of the tips are, they're not coming from a greater variety than as they used to, right?
Well, yeah, like Peace says, there's like maybe like 5 or 6 major whales that prop up any stream. Like you have like Super Blind, or not Super Blind, 1 Minute Man. He'll come in $25, and that'll account for 60% of the tips Phil made that day. And you'll have Jax Raxer tonight. He gave $25. That'll cover again 50% of the stream. So if those guys, like if Jax Raxer woke up and fucked off, or if 1 Minute Man stopped tipping, that affects Phil by 50-60%.
It does.
And then
wait a minute, does the 1 Minute Man, that one doesn't pop up? That one doesn't pop up as on the stream, does it?
No, 1 Minute Man tips behind the scenes, and then the reason why he does that is when Phil got banned from Streamlabs, I think it was.
Yeah.
He got banned from
because
Streamlabs.
of the chargebacks.
Yeah, he requested that people tip him directly to PayPal.
Yeah.
So it didn't come up through the stream. You didn't see it.
Which, one of the things is that, I think that if people are saying 1 Minute Man isn't real, by the fact
we have chat logs with 1 Minute Man going back 2 years.
Well, no, I know, but I mean, 2 years ago, yeah. But has he been in chat recently?
No, and I don't think he comes on stream because I think he's scared.
Right, but he might have been real. But if it's not something that pops up on stream and Phil says, oh, well, what am I going to do? Put money into the account and then withdraw and pay those fees? You could just be saying that you got a $25 tip when you didn't actually get a $25 tip. And you pay nothing. You didn't receive anything, but you've primed the tip jar.
Yeah.
Right? And so the whole thing, if there's no evidence to show that the tip actually came in, except for Phil's word, which is, it's worthless. I wouldn't trust Phil to tell me if the sky was blue. Fuck him. I not a single word that comes out of his mouth verify everything this motherfucker says. You know, he could just say it, prime the tip jar, and have it not look as embarrassing. And then he could at least show some of his, you know, his signs of kingship, you know, being at least getting the gunner glasses to show his success. And you know, there's a big difference, you know, if he could put on the bender hat, being in the big puffy orange vest with the bender hat and glasses. That just shows that he's such a Chad. You know, that all the, you know, everybody wants to be him, just sitting there with a little antenna sticking out of his head like that. Just success. This is a successful businessman. And all you had to do was just to say, I got a $25 tip. It doesn't cost him anything because it's not there. And somebody who doesn't come in and chat.
Yeah.
Too much of an ego to prime the tip jar. The thing is that it's more of an ego boost if he can at least say, oh, we got the hat and we got this and we got that. And because then he might end up going over he could end up going over the tips total, you know? So like I said, I'm not going to say one way or another, but if there's no cost to him just saying we got $25 from a guy who never shows up in chat, and just fucking say it. He lies about everything else.
And we, like, even OIC has admitted, he admitted on proper stream that he tipped Phil behind the scenes. That didn't even come up on chat. But again, we have to take OIC's word for that too, and he's a fucking sociopath and narcissist like Phil.
Well, he said he won't be around on Friday anymore.
Yeah, it was Jax Raxer said because he's switched his job or whatever, and then now Phil might actually switch fight night up or whatever. He wants to see how things are going to go. Because if Jax doesn't come in, right, like I said, like right away, like how much money does Phil have tonight? He's only at $62, and 25 of that came from Jax Raxer.
Yeah.
So if he loses that,
mm-hmm.
like that's going to be like right away. Like again, like that's nearly 50% of what Phil made tonight.
So 1 Minute Man doesn't tip on Fridays, right?
I think he tips on the day stream.
On the day stream, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what did he get on the day stream?
I don't know. I fell asleep during the fucking podcast. So I've taken the day off of work here, so I've just been chilling.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what he made. Let me look on the tips tracker. Give me a second. It takes a little bit to bring up here. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure he tipped right after first break. Like that's Phil's go-to. Comes back from break and go, well, while I was off break, I got a tip from 1 Minute Man, $25. Thank you, 1 Minute Man.
Okay, let's see what he got here. I'm just on Dark Dave's mirror. Oh, mute. Top tip. I think it was 91.
And yeah, Ramen saying it was 90, somewhere in the 90s. So yeah, he did. So he made $90.
So okay, so if you do, so that did get him to the gunner glasses. All right, so got him close to the vest. No, wait, it's, yeah, I mean it got him close to the tier 2. So without that 25, yeah, he would still have the glasses, but he'd be a lot farther away from getting to the tier 2 goal.
Yeah.
This one he's at least close. It's fair. It's getting there. It's not terrible. Okay, it would have been great if he got to the tier 2, but you know, now just by having him say, yeah, he almost got a hat. Almost. It's cool. Maybe let's rally, let's go. So adding in that $25, you know, that the fake $25, it helps, you know, because somebody might end up tipping saying, oh, let's see if we can do that, you know, or let's say, hey, we can get a hat, and that's, you know, a little bit of money that that wouldn't otherwise be there. This guy is literally scraping for pennies and, you know, for nickels and dimes and dollars. That's, I mean, he's living on those. He's living on the margins, on the like if you look at like a bell curve distribution. Like he's living on the far edges, in which he's like even just being off a little bit in a percentage could be disastrous for him.
Yeah, so like,
He's teetering constantly, and
So-
and he's going for those pennies. Just they all
Two
add up.
people.
Just get those little pennies.
2 people
Yeah.
today, like he made $91. 1 Minute Man tipped 25, and then Jade Rasmussen tipped 30. So right there, nearly 2 people accounted for like 55% of his fucking money.
So like, would his ego let him miss out on that money, or will his greed let him play victim to low tip? The thing is, I don't think he has enough people to let him, playing the victim to low tips. I don't think he has enough people to sustain it. He's just kicked so many of them out. Like he doesn't have 50-bit bitches anymore. He's slaughtering the dolphins, like the Japanese people he hates, or the people over in the Orkneys. Let's just be equal here. White people are slaughtering dolphins too. Okay. He wants fat dolphins. He doesn't want skinny dolphins. All right. They're not there. I don't think that OIC can't handle all of it. He can't sustain his ass like that alone, unless maybe if he was getting some ass, he could do it. But yeah, why would you do it every single day and not watch? Like I said, it doesn't cost him anything. It's fallacious for him to say, well, yeah, I get the money, and then I have to, if I'm tipping myself and then paying the fees to transfer it out. One, if you just did the normal transfer, you would be saving thousands on fees. Phil, you fuckwit.
I think
But
he said like it's $3,000 a year he'd save extra or something like that.
Something like that. But his main thing is that if he transfers it out right away, then he can use it right away for his addictions. But also, if people try to claw the money back, they could say, "Well, I don't have it. It's in my account anymore." It's like, how can you take it from me if I don't have it? And it's that sort of mentality. Try to go in and spend the money as fast as possible. The thing is that PayPal doesn't care. If they have a legitimate chargeback, that's why Wings keeps $1,500. Well. Sorry, I just had to hit the cough button here.
Okay.
That he keeps like 1,500 just because he knows that there's going to be a lot of chargebacks. Phil does it to play the victim, in that on that end. But then he wants all the money so he can just go and blow it. He thinks that money, almost like money will rot if you don't use it. Right. If you're not using it, then it's just going to disappear somewhere else. But he also knows that, or he's also in the belief that, well, my supporters and my dents will just make up for whatever I need. Right. And they're going to be there for me. They will go into debt for me. They will die for me. They will support me. They will carry me on my palanquin as I'm sitting there corpulent and gouty and bloated as I stuff, food and DoorDash and gin into my maw. They will carry me around,
Don't you think like somebody with like a business or a finance degree would have some sense in managing finances, managing investments?
I don't think he paid attention.
You don't think he paid attention? You don't think his parents didn't teach him the value of a buck?
Well, the thing is that when you're a narcissist, and you have, or if you have those mental issues, because there are people, especially if you're bipolar depressive, you could be the type of person who could buy lavish gifts for people. It's like, why have one BMW when you can have 2? Why not go on an expensive cruise when you're in one of your high manic episodes, right? You just don't care about the value of a dollar, what it will do. People with gambling addictions will literally know, if I use this money in this way and I lose, I can't pay my rent. I won't be able to eat for a few days, and they'll still fucking do it anyway. Right. And who knows what grades he got in college. but still, he could still know all this stuff and ignore it on the proper way to manage his finances. He can still know it and ignore it, just like in the same way there are doctors and lawyers and professionals and people who are highly educated and supposedly very smart will ignore things, around them, and they might get suckered in to, there's doctors and attorneys have high incidences of alcohol abuse, drug abuse, pills, high levels of depression. It's incredibly stressful, and you're seeing a lot of stuff that a lot of people, most people don't see on a daily basis, and it can really mess with you. I don't drink. I don't really like the taste of alcohol. And the only thing that I got my Adderall for my ADHD, and that's about it. That meth bear. So I'm big like a bear. I'm 6'2". I got a beard. People like say, "God damn!" It's like people say I'm very broad-shouldered, looking like a bear, and not like a gay bear, but like a big burly bear. Like you get pissed off and you pick someone up and you throw them into a fucking wall type bear. And meth because I got my Adderall. So yeah, I could stand the smell of alcohol. I can't stand the smell of tequila. Fuck tequila.
I don't drink
I can't.
at all. I don't.
Yeah.
I have personal reasons why I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do it, but I just got into edibles, but that's because of my hydrocephalus. Because I was on painkillers, I was on sleep aids and everything like that, and none of that shit worked. And then my brother was just like, "Here, just take this chocolate." And I fucking slept through the night, 12 hours. I was just like, "Holy shit, this is great!" And so I started doing edibles, but only when I'm not working the next day because I get the weed hit.
Yeah, that's something I've never touched was marijuana or anything. Like, I wonder how Phil would be if he was on.
I'm pretty sure Phil's on crack. Like he buys it from behind that Burger King. It would explain a lot.
Yeah, but he would probably do it like they did on Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and which is we'd like 2 crack rocks, and they ended up charging him. What was it, like 600? Was it something like $300 or $600 for like 2 crack rocks or something like that? And they ended up getting addicted. Or I don't know if it PCP. I mean, he'd be wearing if he was on PCP, he'd probably be wearing Jasper's skin on his head. You don't fuck with PCP.
Phil's just 100% alcoholism. Like you can tell like when he's like during the day stream, he's pretty good, but when he turns over to the night stream, especially if the day stream hasn't been very good tips wise, the night stream he'll come on, his hair is all kind of greasy and his eyes are kind of droopy because he was drinking heavily after the first stream.
Yeah, no, you could tell some nights are. I mean, he does something. He does drink in between because as the day goes on, he just has to, and he has to drink more and more as his sensitivity builds up to it. And because I've known, I've known some attorneys in which I've walked in and you could just smell it on them in the fucking morning, man. I work with someone.
Yeah, we get that every morning and we send her home. So it does become a problem.
It becomes a problem, and it's the sensitivity, his resistance builds up to it, so he has to start drinking earlier. He has to start drinking more, and while he need to drink more in order to get a feeling out of it, his body still has the effects of it. Now, I'd really love it if he had a higher quality camera in a way so that we could see if he has nystagmus, if his eyes are twitching when he's even looking forward, because it's one of those involuntary responses. What happens when you get pulled over for a DUI? They have you look up, like at a pen or a finger or something like that, and they're looking to see if your eyes are twitching back and forth. When you have too much alcohol in your system, and without anything else, if you're normal physiologically, your eyes won't move. They'll be solid like a rock. But if you have sufficient alcohol in your system to where you could be impaired, you'll start seeing like a tremor in your eyes, because the alcohol will start affecting the nerves and the muscles that controls your eyes. and that's a indicator of alcohol. But you can see his slurring speech, and sometimes in which he sits there and he's sort of hunched over a little bit more, and he's just, it's almost like everything went wrong on you too. He has that type of that slur and droop. Like right now, he looks
coherent.
he looks coherent. He looks fine. But there's some from a while. There've been some streams from a while ago in which he just opened his mouth and you're like, oh my god, he's fucking hammered. Yeah, not tonight. Not tonight. He looks okay.
Tonight he's pretty good tonight. So
yeah, but you can bet that after this he's probably gonna go and
he's gonna
just
hammer,
get hammered.
He's gonna hammer. He's gonna fucking do those polls he's made.
Yeah, but that's the thing is he's gonna have to start spinning plates eventually. It's getting to that point. Yeah, month over month, year after year, he's getting less and less and less, and he's going to have to balance all this shit out. He's going to have to reduce things. He's not going to want to do it. He's going to have to start budgeting himself a little more if he wants to keep up the Scopely. But like I said, the Scopely is too expensive for him to keep up at the level that he's at right now. He's probably going to, I would say predictably, cheaper to do alcohol, reduce the Scopely, drink more alcohol, but that affects his stream performance, and then as his coping mechanism, and he might end up drinking too much and missing streams and not making that money. So there's always a cost. He will reduce spending on other things. He might end up getting rid of Jasper. Just say, oh, Jasper died, so he doesn't have to go out and buy litter. That's the main thing. He's buying all that fucking litter. He just throws out the cat box instead of actually scooping shit out. It's either him or Cat that probably has some phobia to it. But yeah, that's why he's constantly buying this shit. Cats don't eat that much. I've had cats. Okay, if there's a little divot in the food bowl, if the food bowl isn't always full, but there's food around the edges, they're gonna look at you saying, I'm going to fucking starve. Okay, if there isn't sufficient amount of food in the bowl, all right, but they're not eating constantly like that.
Yeah, like I've had a bunch of dogs, a bunch of cats. They never cost me the amount of money that Jasper costs.
No.
Still, like it's just like,
unless he's buying food to go out and feed feral cats or something. But we know that he doesn't do that. He doesn't go out.
It's just a ploy. It's a ploy for him to beg for more money. That's all he uses.
It's a ploy. Well, no, but you just look at like the bank leaks and the money and the amount of money that he spends at PetSmart or Petco. It's like 80. It's like $60, $70, $80 a week, over $100. Like, what the fuck is he buying over there? It's either he's buying stuff for other animals, or I don't know if they have iTunes gift cards. Actually, I think I haven't seen gift card centers over at the places that I've been to. He's buying litter, and he's buying a fuck ton of litter, more than likely.
I'd buy a bag of dry food for my cats. It would last like a month.
Yeah.
And I'd buy some like little Caesar things or whatever. I give them to once a week. Like.
But I mean, like he's talking about, we mix in all this shit. I mean, he might not know the actual mechanics, because I'm sure Cat's the one who takes care of Jasper the most.
Yeah,
Jasper's, her cat. But for him, I think it's just his revulsion of he's just repulsed by the concept of the cat box, and it has to be emptied, probably emptied every day, more than likely.
I can't see him doing that. Seriously, I cannot see Phil taking the responsibility to empty a litter box every day.
Who says he would do it?
No, yeah,
Cat would do it.
He could have convinced Cat to do it, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, because he's talked about litter, just cat litter piling up in the garage, and the amount that he spends at these pet stores, it's from that. It has to be from that, unless he's buying cat toys and throwing them away. I mean, what the fuck is he doing?
I can't see, because Jasper's declawed, so he wouldn't be able to rip apart those toys.
No, not very easily. Wait, is he still going to try to shill tomorrow? Oh, is it the pizza party stream tomorrow?
Yeah, the pizza party streams tomorrow or whatever. He was just showing. I swear the first one he showed was a detractor made meme. One where he's chomping on the pizza in front of the turtles, because I saw that posted this morning on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So I think somebody made that for him and sent it to Phil.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I mean, because he's just too. Sometimes he might be too dense to see some of this stuff. Or he's like, it's free. Might as well just use free shit, right? Because that's how he is.
Copyright struck again.
Raven's Dolphin. Yeah, Raven's up. Yeah, Raven's the biggest dolphin, man. Just like unzip, boom. You know, he's like you know he's in the room before he's in the room. God damn. I don't know if is he still in here? Hold on, let me check.
Raven, you still here?
It only shows that there's 2 participants.
I don't know. I have 32 watching on mine. Raven, you here? Maybe he left.
Yeah, probably. Maybe he left. Oh, there we go. What is it? If it takes you as a participant, how long does it keep you in there then? Like a minute or a few minutes? Okay. All right. Still up. All right.
We should still be up.
Yeah. Okay, we're still up.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you playing? Final Fantasy? What is it? Final Fantasy what?
I was playing Final Fantasy 4, which is Final Fantasy 2 in the US.
2. Yeah. Okay. That's Kane, right?
Yeah, I see some
up in the banner.
Yeah,
that's Kane. Yeah, that's Kane up in the banner. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Tella dying. That was a sad moment. That was a shit moment in the game. Let me see. And yeah, Fusoya was a crazy ass character. You only had him for a little bit, but yeah.
I bought Final Fantasy 6 today. I was going to start playing that here tonight, which is Final Fantasy 3.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to start doing that tonight, but I might not do that till tomorrow. I got a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow. Probably going to.
Yeah, I just have Factorio idling in the background here for me right now. So
I'll be on for that Ninja Turtle stream tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Phil fucking rage because the game is just very, very buggy. Or the release is just really buggy, and Phil's gonna lose his mind when he goes online. So it's gonna be fucking hilarious to watch.
Yeah, I'll enjoy that. I like I said, do I want him to go away? No. Do I want him to be harmed? Absolutely not. Nobody should be harmed in that way. I mean, there are some people who, deserve to be dropped in a fucking wood chipper feet first, pedophiles, certain offending maps, things of that nature.
Or even is still here.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, certain people deserve it, especially after trial and conviction, break out the chainsaws, prepare exterminatus for some of these fuckers. But, just in an everyday sense, no, people don't deserve to be harmed, and nobody should go up to Phil and fuck with him or anything like that. It might be interesting to see his reaction and have him start cowering and overreacting. That might be interesting to see, but I would prefer, people just not.
Yeah, and I'm the same way.
One thing that, don't go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, don't do anything to Phil, like gay ops or whatever you want to call it, right? Like stuff like that. Like what we do, if you want to get back at Phil, just do what we do. Create your content, create your own YouTube channel, report on Phil's bullshit, get more awareness out there for people not to give Phil money. But I don't want to see Phil harmed in any way. If Phil goes away, so be it. The community is still going to be here, regardless if he's here or not. So, and is Phil going to get kicked off of YouTube? Eventually. It'll happen. Then he'll be back on Twitch begging for tips only because he can't get anything else.
Yeah, it'll get to the point where his alcoholism and his gacha addiction, his gambling addiction, will get to the point where he's going to start becoming just too uncontrolled, too aggressive, too pushy, too whiny, too beggy, and his financial demands will outstrip the supporters that he has. it already kind of does, because I mean he's his income is decreasing, but it's the burden is just going to increase over time as people fall away, or as he starts insulting people more and more and more, and as he starts drinking more and Scopely polls increase. There's more crises. There's more this, that, and the other. Oh, I need to hire a lawyer because I've been a victim of another crime, and I've had all these defaults and all that complete bullshit. That just, when I saw that one, that just enraged me, because I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not. And who was it? Special K in his chat was like, Phil, I work in a bank. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You need to report it. And then he's like, okay, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. I'm the victim. I'm the victim of a crime. I'm the one who's having to spend money on it. I know what this is, and you're a fucking liar, and you're always just trying to come in here and contradict me. And so here, you can get banned. Boom. Right? Yeah, he's getting more desperate. They're either going to break you, or you're going to break them. And Phil, oh, God, he has a mechanism in place to where he can not necessarily hit rock bottom, but he could sort of slide into it.
He's been banging on those crimes now since the bank leaks happened. And then
not just bank leaks, but he thinks false copyright strikes are criminal activities, and if you're looking at like YouTube's like the reporting, like DMCA, is it really a criminal? Well, technically, yeah. You're saying that you're stating it under penalty of perjury, so technically it could be, it is a crime if it's like that, but it's not necessarily. It's not that type of crime. I mean, just.
Well, he says it's a federal crime. Everything against him is a federal crime.
Right. It is. You can be. It is perjury, falsely striking his. But if it's in good faith, but it's not the type of crime that he's trying to portray. As he's trying to portray it as being a battery or an armed robbery, like you're having a gun and somebody's putting a gun in his face. Right. That's the way he's trying to portray it. But the thing is that you can go ahead and do a false DMCA, but you've committed something, but you got to be charged with something, you got to be convicted of it, and it's yeah, I mean, he's banging on the wrong door. He's trying to make it seem like it's a lot bigger than what it is. They suck, but he's trying to portray it as if somebody's broken into his home, like he was afraid, evil AJ was going to do, and is trying to murder him on a daily basis with these false DMCAs. Because in effect he is, because he's saying that I can't feed my family if I don't have this money. You're affecting my wife, and his cat son. And again, his mom, wife, and his cat son. Yeah,
he challenged people to do it too. Like he challenged them to be like, if you're going to false copyright strike me, then do it. And then when people did it, he cried foul. And it was just like, well, you instigated it, Phil. Right? And you challenged them to do it, and they did it. Now you're saying they're doing crimes against me. It's just like.
Yeah, it's a stupid. Well, one, inviting somebody to. Well, actually, it depends. In some states, you can consent to fistfights. Washington is one of those states where you can. It's legal to get into a fistfight as long as you don't damage property. Actually, I don't know if they've recently changed, but I know that just even recently, you could get into a fight in public, as long as you don't damage property around you. And you don't go so far as to create a like disturbing the peace. Yeah, Washington's one of those states where you can consent to a fist fight. Just don't go too far, and you're not going to be arrested for it. I think you have to inform law enforcement around you that you're going to do it, and just so that they know what's going on, right? I think Texas is also a place where you can consent to a fist fight as well,
awesome.
So yeah, technically in California, God, who was it? Shia LaBeouf consented to a fist fight in downtown LA, and the normally, you know, that would be like disturbing the peace, something that you shouldn't be able to do. But they just said, you know, nobody was damaged. There's nothing that was damaged. They didn't hold anything up. They weren't holding up traffic, and so they just said it was mutual. And I mean, of course, it was Shia LaBeouf, but he ended up getting in a fight with somebody, and the cops called it mutual. Didn't arrest either one of them. So, and just sort of let it go. It's a discretion thing, really, right? Just don't bang into a car and dent it or something. At that point, you're damaging property. Fuck both of you, right? You know, you just damage someone else's property. And he just said making videos of him caused him to be swatted. Oh yeah. By this is how you don't play, and you know, you're responsible. It's like, no, Phil, it's you acting like a jackass. It's you acting like a beggar. It's you acting like you, a pompous, insecure little man who thinks that you're king shit. You are not king shit a fuck mountain. All right.
He's the
goddamn
town fool, fuck mountain, but
he wasn't swatted. It was it was more of a wellness. If it was swatting, it would have been like others in which they would have busted down the door, right? No, it was more of a wellness
officers
check.
That showed up, and that was it.
Yeah, basically, it was a wellness check. It was more of a wellness check, or just like more of a security. Maybe you could say security sweep. Just make sure everything was okay, everything was copacetic there, and just a disturbance call, and okay, gamer shit. Because we don't know how many people showed up outside, right? There's no confirmation of that as far as I know.
Yeah,
there's never been any. Yeah,
there is a police report. The police report is online.
Okay.
Swatting event, but it doesn't go into detail about much.
About how many officers that were on scene or anything like that.
I don't think it states that. All I know is it's got like Leanna, whatever, female, Philip Burnell, male, blah blah blah, and it's got the address and everything and the situation that called for disturbance or something like that. And it was just so the swatting did happen. Like, I was on the fence that it did or didn't happen because I have a couple police officer buddies here that have listened to the video, watched the video, and the guy's like, that's not how we do it. But
yeah, you'll see. Besides, I mean, I don't think you do no knocks in Canada, right?
Which?
No knock warrants in which you could just break down the door without announcing beforehand.
I don't know anything about it. I know, like, we had most of the time in here in Canada, if they're doing like a wellness check or whatever, they do have to knock, and there was a police officer here in Edmonton that was shot and killed through the door. So, and then when they announced themselves and he was shot and killed through the door, the guy shot right through the door and killed him.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I know that if you have an instance where there's a no knock and the police do not announce themselves, like police as they're coming through, which they don't do all the time, they're and you're awakened and it's dark, you don't know what's going on, and you end up shooting a cop. Technically, that you should not be charged with any crime. And it has happened where a cop has been shot because they did a no-knock, they busted in, they did not announce themselves. It was proven they did not announce themselves, and they awoke somebody who grabbed their firearm and fired and wounded a cop. There was one instance where a police chief's son, I think this was down in the South, I think Mississippi or Alabama, it was the police chief's son. He was going on this drug raid, but he was involved in he was not involved in anything that he was not involved in this, like the SWAT team, or involved in entries. He was he was the police chief son, but he was involved in some rather low level, like low impact policing, and he just wanted to go along for the experience. And he ended up getting hit right below the vest, and he ended up dying. And normally, something like that, it's like, yeah, it was effectively, people knew that they didn't announce themselves. The guy ended up going to prison. He was convicted of it, but I believe he has been since released because, you know, the new evidence has come out that no, this was, to him, this was a home invasion. And it was by the fact that it was the police chief's son who got shot, and also the gentleman in question was also African American. You know, and the police officer was white. That he, you know, that ended up occurring. But normally, no, you're not. That would not be considered to be a crime. You know, if they announce police open up and you shoot right through the door, you're fucked at that point. You know that it doesn't matter if they do that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Is there does anybody have any final questions for Meth Bear? Because we've gone even longer than Phil. So.
By an unarmed man in a hotel hallway in front of a. Oh yeah, that one. That incident. He was the exterminator, and he was coming in from out of state, and he had his basketball shorts on, and they were falling down, and that right there. I think by the fact that they had he had no firearm in his hand, and he was wearing basketball shorts. I know they called it a good shoot, and the officer was acquitted for that one. I think, me looking at that, I think that was a bad shoot. Because his pants his shorts were falling down. They were basketball shorts. The best thing to do would just be let the shorts fall down. Now is not a time for modesty. And he was frightened. Even if he somehow had a gun that was in those baggy shorts that were falling down, if he somehow got it out of his pocket or something, they had guns trained on him, he wouldn't have been able to pull it out fast enough, and they would have been able to drop him if it was there. He wouldn't be that fast because he was on his hands and knees, right? And you had multiple officers from multiple sides who were, who had eyes on him. And it would have just been gun at that point if it was legit, and could have taken him down. That one was, I personally think, it was just a bad shoot. But he ended up getting acquitted because they said, well, he was reaching back and everything, and it's like that is one thing, but it is a tough case, because at the other end, if it is legitimate, you don't want officers not firing when they do have to fire. That's where you have to balance it. That's where you do have to balance it out. And the jury, they went with the officer, but he was at such an angle. That from what I recall, is that he should have been able to see what was going on, and that the shorts were falling down, and that if there was a gun that was drawn, he would have been able to see it plain as day, and he would have been able to fire before he could even pull it out. Right. Yeah, it just sucks all around. Those things suck all around. But then there was another one that I remember, this was a few days after, I think, Mike Brown was shot over in Missouri. It was in Washington. A guy was running down the street, and he literally, people were like, oh, it's a black man shot by cops in Washington. I think it was in Seattle. But then the video showed him actually pulling out a gun and firing at the cops, and it's like, oh, if you shoot directly at the cop, you're dead. Oh, yeah. Fuck you. There's no excuse for that. There's no, you can't do that and then claim innocence, or oh, you were unarmed or something like that, while he was actively firing at the cops. So it's crap. You might not be able to avoid it entirely, and the chances of something like that happening to you are rather low, but just avoid doing something that would get you in a face-to-face with an officer. Just, just don't get hammered and argue, and don't go out and, do something that might start a fight with a cop. Don't do anything like that. It's not like it was back in the day when somebody would get rowdy and, the cops would just, whack you and then put you back in the cop car and you'd go and sleep it off. Right. It's getting a lot more dangerous out there. And if they ever come to your house, hopefully you don't have dogs, because that's it seems like it's one of the policies of places is just kill all the dogs. Including there was one place they shot a Chihuahua. Yeah, the time to argue about your rights is not when you have a firearm pointed at you. Right? That just, if you are under arrest, don't, if you're in custody or if you're being questioned, you don't have to answer questions. Just say, what you need to say is, I want a lawyer. Not, I think I want a lawyer. Just say, I want a lawyer, and don't ask any questions. At that point, they have to stop questioning you and get you a lawyer. If they still continue to question you after that, anything that they get out of you can be considered fruit of the poisonous tree, or it's a constitutional violation and can be thrown out. You have to unequivocally say, I want a lawyer. Not, I think I want a lawyer, maybe I should get a lawyer. It has to be clear. And don't answer questions. The only time you would have to answer certain questions is if you were, say, involved in something that could be a self-defense shoot, especially if you have a CCW, and you would need to at least state your facts, or the series of events that occurred to determine whether or not the shoot was justified or not. And that's one of the places where you would have to, to talk. But as long as the shoot was good, then the shoot was good, right? Then that's if you're out in public. If it's, if it's in your home, probably best to keep, say you'd want an attorney present and you'd, remain silent. But I mean, if somebody's in your house and they've been shot, then, I mean, that's pretty it's almost self-evident that there was something going on, right? So, yeah.
Great.
So wait, is he done streaming?
Oh yeah, he's been done streaming for about 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I thought so. I saw that Friday Night Fights returns. When is he going to be moving it to? Does he know yet? Or is
it's going to be. He's gonna basically what he's doing is he's gonna see how the night goes without Jax's tip, and then he's gonna probably switch it to one of the nights that Jax can make. Which is,
does Jax even say anything when he tips, or does he just like tip and then watch?
I think Jax, I think he said something, because he told Phil, he's like, yeah, I'm changing my shifts from today's or whatever, so I don't know if I'll be able to make the night stream.
Yeah, it's like, that's what. Yeah, Ramen Brahmin. I'm sorry. Yeah. So he's gonna get the. Yeah. You're invoking your right to silence, and I want my lawyer. But technically, if you say that I want my lawyer, then all questioning would need to stop, because if you just say I'm invoking my right to silence, then they would have to conspicuously honor. Scrupulously honor your request, but they can come back after a time, maybe 24 hours, and they could attempt to question you again. That's considered not to violate your right to silence, is they can periodically come back and check to see, I know that you said that you were going to be silent, but are you willing to no longer remain silent now? Because if you're talking about, having counsel present, that's something completely different, right? That means you want somebody to advise you before you speak further. But yeah, you just don't say, I'm invoking my right to silence. You say, I'm invoking my right to silence. If you want to be super safe, I'm invoking my right to silence. I want a lawyer. But technically, if you say, I want a lawyer, you're invoking both, but just say both so that you're clear. All right. And that's all you got to do. And if they say, oh, well, you're not, you can go, then go. If the cops say you can go, go. Don't hang around. Don't feel that, oh, I need to tell them something or they'll suspect something. No, they're trying to get something on you. All right. Sometimes you need, and they've put innocent people in jail because they've stuck around and said stupid shit, that cause suspicion, and they've fit people in. You end up pleading out because you're looking at some, 15, 20 years in jail over some stupid shit. It's happened before. It happens all the time. They charge people with crimes. The district attorney's offices charge people with crimes that they don't commit all the time. Constantly. They're not technically supposed to, but they do. Why? They're the DA. Fuck you. There's nothing really that's going to stop them from doing it. And when they give you the plea deal, that's what you've basically been, that they know that they really have you on. Or they feel that they have you on. That's what they should have charged you with. But you start off high so that you have somewhere to go. You don't, if you want to pay or if you want to sell something for at least $100, you don't say $100. You say you want $150 for it, and then you have somewhere to go. Just standard negotiating tactics. So presumably within 24 hours you have spoken. Yeah, but the thing is that it's one of those issues is that you have to ask for one. You have to ask for one. And there have been cases in which people have just invoked their right to silence, and they did not invoke their right to counsel. And they came back, and then later on, the officers came back the next day and asked, "Do you want to talk?" And the person made statements that were not considered to violate the right to silence, and they were convicted on it. So do both. Just do both. So, but yeah.
Okay. It's been another amazing night with Meth Bear, going over all the legality of dipshit Phil. Thank you again, Meth Bear, for everything here, because these streams are just been fucking awesome.
Not a problem.
Meth Bear and I will talk again, see what other topics we can talk about here. Next week, we're going to have Heather on stream playing World of Warcraft. Again, if anybody else wants to jump in and play World of Warcraft, probably the week after that, I'm probably going to do Left 4 Dead 2. I know some people want to play that online while we watch Phil. And again, we're going to have Meth Bear back again. We're just going to see what other topics we can come up with. Again, I want to thank everybody for subscribing. I want to thank everybody for being a part of this community. I want to thank Meth Bear again for being on.
My pleasure.
This
Anytime.
has been another amazing night. Watching Phil early on getting bodied and laughing at his fucking tactics and shit. And remember, Sunday on the That Being Said podcast, they're going to have Jaha as well as another FGC member from back in the day. So I'm definitely going to be checking out that one tomorrow. If I see you guys, I'm not going to be restreaming anything tomorrow. But I will be. What do you see? What do you see?
Oh, nothing. Just something on Snapchat. Sorry.
Okay. So if I see you guys on a stream tomorrow, whoever's going to be restreaming, King Jazz probably going to be doing bingo. So I'll see everybody there. And thanks again. And Meth Bear, thank you again.
All right. A pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.